What's up, FD? It's JP from Rolling with FD.
What's going down?
Is there a super team in 5-10 years of Ja, Luka, Jokic, and Zion? You know I love this question.
No, go ahead.
Everybody's saying stuff about base cards recently. What's wrong with base cards? JP, what's your favorite 70s song? What's the play? What's up, everybody? This is FD.
And this
We got
is
JP here. Yeah. Welcome to What's the Play on this Monday night.
Yes,
we have a great guest here tonight that I want to bring to everybody. I really enjoy his work. We talk a pretty good amount. But with no further ado, I'm going to bring in Dakota with Sports Cards Anonymous. What's up, Dakota?
Hey, I'm looking. Is there another guest in here? You said there was a great guest. I'm looking to see if there's another one. I don't know.
So that's you, sir.
Oh, that's me. Oh, man, you're too kind, too generous.
That's you. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right, brother. How you doing? How you doing, JP?
Hey, what's going on, Dakota?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. We got a few people in here right now. But we can jump right into this, right? So we got a lot of stuff that we can talk about today, and we'll dive into it. But I know today you did a great interview with the CEO of Starstock. And I just want to start off by, let me see here. Tell us kind of your thoughts coming out of that interview. You've had some time to think about it. And for everybody out there, we'll have a link to Dakota's interview in our description box below so that you can check it out. But jump in and tell us what some of your thoughts a few hours afterwards.
Yeah, man, it's hard. So I'll tell you just from my perspective, I've never done anything like that in my life, man. One of the employees that got, laid off, got fired, they reached out to me and they said basically like they would trust me with this information and like get it public. And I said, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. I just talk about sports cards,
Yeah.
So we do this and Scott reaches out. He's like, hey, I want to come on and talk about it. I'm like, that's perfect. I would love to get both sides. I like Starstock. I enjoy using Starstock. So I'm here to support that platform. And so I'm getting ready for that interview, and I'm so nervous, man. I ain't never done nothing like this, man. I don't know. And then we have the interview, and my objective walking out of that interview was to ensure that I asked the questions that I know the community wants to hear asked, right? And to be honest, I was so nervous on there. It was hard for me to pay attention to what he was saying. I was so focused on like just
I know what you mean by that.
Yeah, I was just so nervous and so focused. It was difficult for me to pay attention, but that said, I have gone back and watched it and, heard a few things. And I think for the most part, like just being honest here, I think Scott gave the answers that he has to give. I think he did a pretty good job of answering the questions, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He had a couple of issues, like he didn't know how they paid PSA. I think that was not a great look from him.
When I was watching Dakota, that was the only thing that jumped out to me that shocked me.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was strange. I mean, it was different. And then the one thing I wish now looking back at it, I wish I would have asked them like, you all had this concept and people really liked it. And then you pivoted to breaks and that didn't work. And then you pivoted to auctions and that didn't work. How is pivoting to NFTs going to work? Right. Looking back, I wish I would have asked that. But again, just the state of mind I was in, I was not in a state of mind to, come up with good questions on the fly. Maybe if I do this again, maybe I'll be better at it. Yes, again, just green and just learning how to do this. Overall, I think he did a good job of answering. I think that question, wasn't the best. And just general mannerism. A lot of people said he seemed nervous, and if they thought he seemed nervous and they didn't think I seemed nervous, he must have really seemed nervous because.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. What do you think, FD?
Yeah. I thought the interview was good, especially with the time frame that you had to give it in. What did you have, 20 minutes, 19 minutes?
Yeah, I had 15. Luckily, he gave me, he didn't mind. We went to 19, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was that made it a little bit more difficult. Some of the answers he gave was the answers I anticipated him giving. But like I said before, the only thing that really shocked me is when you asked him about, well, have you all paid the bill or will you pay the bill? And he didn't know. Well, I don't know if do we pay before or after. Either way, it'll be taken care of. That was the only thing that really shocked me.
Yeah, that's the thing I took away from it too, just as well. Like he said, he'll have to speak to the team. I'm like, aren't you the CEO of what's going on here? I take it. So
Yeah, you might think just given with Mark's cards and everything that occurred with that he might have
But then
checked.
also he said he read in the Twitter feedback that people wanted an answer to that question. So that also,
Did he say that?
Yeah, he said that.
I missed that.
Yeah.
I think to me the biggest there's red flags where it's like, oh, this is a big issue, and then there's not that, right? And to me, the way he answered the questions, I don't think there's red flags like we're going to lose our assets tied up in Starstock. And some of the people that I've been in touch with, they did confirm, which was the one thing that I did want to confirm with people, that it does seem like Starstock does have customer deposits separated. It wasn't used as operational funds. So I do believe, based off of what he answered and what I've heard from other people now, that there's no reason to be in fear for any cash that you have on the platform.
So now let me say this too. Let me ask this question. You have done business with them. Walk a new collector or someone new to the hobby through what their business model is and why you want to do business with them.
Well, so when they first start, they're saying we're the day trading platform for sports cards, which I'm not a day trader. That's not me. But you send cards in, they give them a raw grade for free. Now it costs 50 cents, but which is still fine. They still, they put it in a category and give it a rough raw grade, which I think is awesome. I think it's awesome that you have a third party that is giving a grade, to a card that's raw, and so you can trust that it's meant or not, kind of deal. And then from there, you can buy cards on the platform, and it's very quick and seamless. They all stay inside of that the vault there. And so the hobby doesn't lose money on shipping because we're not paying to continuously ship the cards, and you're not paying to store the cards either. The only money that you're paying is a 5% transaction fee every time you buy. Every time you sell a car, you pay 5%, right? That's how it works. And so the fees are really, really small. It's a great platform. I think things work great. And to me, after listening to him talk today, what I wish they would have done now, looking back, I wish they just would have doubled down on we're a marketplace and we're going to be the best marketplace, but we're going to have to increase our fees, or we're going to have to charge some sort of storage fees, similar to ComC. I think maybe that might have been more profitable for them. So yeah.
I did like the conversation that he talked about walking away from the NDA and letting people go on with their careers and do other things. That was a positive note. There was some positive notes of the conversation.
That was a big one because that was one I knew about the non-com, and it just seems it's weird to me that you would have that in sports cards. So the contract, so I read what they signed, and it to me is very standard language. I come from tech. To me, it's very standard. Like I would expect that to be, but in the card industry, it's hard to give a non-compete because it's such a small industry. Like these people, if they're specialized in those fields and they want to stay in that field, their only option is competition. Yeah. So I was happy to hear that he was saying that they're waiving that. I think that was a huge, at least from a PR perspective, a huge win for them today.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
JP, any other questions you want to ask about that or jump into about that?
No, I mean, I think it was also awesome too that any cards that they had that they were going to ship back for free. If I'm not mistaken, Dakota, they said they were going to ship cards back for free with no cost to the customer. Am I reading that correctly? Or
I don't think it's for free. I think so. They've always charged 50 cents per. Is it 50 cents per card shipped back, and maybe $1 per graded card, I think. That's really one of the bigger issues with the platform is it's ridiculous to ship cards. When you ship 5 cards, $250, okay, that's fine. But when you ship 500 cards and it's $250, that's outrageous. It should be getting cheaper per card, not more burdensome.
Yeah.
That almost sounds like the business model was set up for a certain quantity of cards. And as the business grew, that was never revised, or there was never a tier put to it. Almost sounds like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we got Sydney here that wanted to say hello. Also, Moneybound now. Moneybound, how you doing? DJ Lazy Jeff, how you doing? DJ. We got Mark Engel, just wanted to show some love to Dakota and FD. We stay rolling here in Ohio. Not sure how long I can hang in. Hang in as long as you can. It's all good. We appreciate you being here. What a week in the NFL. Isn't that correct? Isn't that's a segue to jump into some things, right? So we can go around the horn, kind of what our take was on these AFC and NFC games. JP, you want to jump into that?
Yeah, let me jump in that. For all you Kansas City Chief fans that is comparing Patrick Mahomes saying he is a GOAT to Tom Brady, I think you all need to go look at the film and reevaluate what you are insinuating. I'm talking about somebody that's been to 10 Super Bowls and won 7, right?
Yes.
Let's put you over correct. 10 Super Bowls and won 7. Patrick Mahomes won how many? 1 Super Bowl? I take it.
He's won 1 Super Bowl. Yes.
And everybody is deeming this dude the next Tom Brady, next GOAT. I don't think so. That's my take on that one. I'm gonna let somebody else go.
All right. Dakota, what did you think of the weekend?
Man, I loved that Bengals game. I was watching it with my boy, and we're watching it. I'm like, damn, down 21-10 at half. And they come back, and I'm like, man, I mean, Burrow, everyone's talking about Burrow and how great he did, and he did, man. Shout out to Burrow. I mean, not that he needs my shout. He doesn't give a damn, but, great for him. But we get to the end of that fourth quarter, and I'm like, the Bengals just gave up 3 points in the whole second half. That defense played, man. I was like, oh, man. Yeah. So I loved it, man. I loved it. That's a lot of momentum going into the game. And I think Bengals Rams is going to be a fun Super Bowl. The Rams may run away with it. The Bengals may win. I don't know, but I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see two teams we're not used to seeing in the Super Bowl.
That's right. I think it's the start of something new. JP just talked about how many times Tom Brady has been to the Super Bowl. But this is a Super Bowl where both quarterbacks can really make their mark in their career. Burrow, second year, come off a knee injury, lead his team to the Super Bowl. What will he do? Stafford. I used to live in Detroit. We went to games. We weren't worried about what Stafford was about to do. So now he's in a situation where he can get over that hump and get a ring on his finger and change his position when you talk about the trajectory of his career. But I agree with Dakota. This is about to be a fun Super Bowl. You got a lot of characters on the field, a lot of names, a lot of people trying to figure out again where their career is going. You got a guy like Odell Beckham, his career was lost, and now he's on center stage in front of everyone. It should be very, very interesting. The 49ers game, I was just rooting hard for the 49ers to get to the next level. I think they have a good team they have a Super Bowl caliber team. And it'll be interesting to see what they do in the offseason with their overall team. What kind of talent they're going to bring back, what kind of talent they're going to go out and look for, because they're right there. They're right there.
I don't know. I mean, we all thought it was foregone conclusion. Jimmy G was out of San Francisco. I don't know that they move on from him. I mean, I don't want to hand it over to Trey Lance right now. He hasn't looked.
I don't think Trey Lance is the answer. I think the only way you take it away from Jimmy G is if you bring somebody in that's a starting quarterback. I don't think you hand it over to Trey Lance. Not with that squad that they have right now. And the talent level those people are in their careers, I just don't see that.
Okay, so I'll pose a question to you all.
What you got?
Dakota and FD. So you mean to tell me after what you saw with Jimmy G that you would keep this guy to be the helm, the front runner of the team? When is Trey Lance ever going to get his chance to take the whole of the reins and get comfortable with what he's got going on with San Francisco? Who do you bring in? What other quarterback out there would you bring in?
Well, financially, I don't know what a team is, right? I don't know how much money they have to go out and get who. But I just think that team, it'd be something else if the team was in a growing position. Let's say they finish the season 9-8. Now, you might turn that over to Trey Lance and let him go. But this is a team that's not far away from getting to next year's Super Bowl or even winning next year's Super Bowl if they have if they want to make a change with Garoppolo. I just don't think you turn that over to Trey Lance. And we've seen in the past the Denver Broncos brought in a veteran. Tampa Bay Buccaneers brought in a veteran. They felt like they had a team around that veteran that would get them to the next level. Those two quarterbacks and Peyton Manning and Tom Brady produced for those teams. If they want to make a change for something right now, besides Garoppolo, I just don't see it being Trey Lance.
Dakota, what's your take?
I still don't think Lance is the answer. So if you're looking to upgrade on Jimmy G, I mean, who's out there? Obviously, you've got some great names out there this year with Watson and Wilson and Rodgers, but I don't know that any of those are obtainable for San Francisco, especially when you look at San Francisco. They lost all their draft capital for Trey Lance, right? So now you're looking at they're going to have to take money. They're going to have to lose players. It's going to be messy. So is there a cheap option out there that's an upgrade? And I just don't think there is. Unfortunately for them, that's not great news for them. And I like Jimmy G. Look, I'm not saying he's a top 10 quarterback, but I think he's probably top 16. So I just don't think there's an upgrade available to them right now. So they're going to have to get creative.
Very, very. OG Card Scammer says he's in a. I said I'll be back. I'm in a whatnot betting battle with the great creator. I can't wait to hear how this ends and what we're betting on. We've been here for a little bit. Hero 3, just a little bit. Didn't miss too much. We started out talking about Starstock. Paul says him not knowing the process of PSA group sub is unforgivable. How do you not know that? Sydney, he seemed unprofessional, to be honest. I feel I would be more transparent and offer more of my time to explain to a young Dakota the business.
I want to talk to this for a second because, again, just from the sources that I've now talked to from inside the building, to me, look, I don't know. You can have your opinion about Scott, whatever you want, but to me, he's a young person still figuring out, and I don't even know his age. He may be older or younger than me. I have no idea.
But I think he's a little bit younger than me. I know.
Yeah. He's a young leader, right? There's a lot of leadership stuff, I think, in my opinion, from my couple of interactions with him and what I've heard from other people. He's in a leadership position, and he's got to develop his leadership quality. And I don't want to. That's not me putting him on blast. It's not saying it's not even saying he's a bad leader. There's some things he needs to learn. That's all.
Yeah.
Well, I was happy that he showed up today, that he wanted to talk to you.
And he reached out. It was his idea. I mean, those are good signs. Again, I'm not saying he's bad. I just think there's a lot of learning there still. So like when you said he seems unprofessional, there's a lot of learning there. And I mean, like you said, he's taking the right steps. And I think he answered the questions for the most part. He answered them, pretty well.
Yeah, I thought so.
The takeaway that I really, that you guys really hit on, that really sticks out to me is about his character. Like he reached out to you, Dakota, made time to answer all of the questions as best as possible. You have people that have been in profession for years that are still working on their craft as being a leader.
Yep.
No matter how you look at it, no matter if you've been in there 2 days or you've been in there 20 years, you're always going to be working on your craft in some way, shape, or form. Yep. So I think it speaks volumes when you have a person that is willing to come on, that reach out to you to kind of put out some fires and answer some questions and not hide anything and be up and be honest and transparent about what's going on. So
100%.
All positive. I was tracking this today. I was just looking at where are Patrick Mahomes cards going the day after? I know sometimes there are some people who make plays on cards when certain things in the short term happen in a sport. So I was looking at where's Patrick Mahomes cards going and where are Burrow's cards going. And it seems like I saw some more deals today on Patrick Mahomes, and I saw more of an increase in price, so whatever it may be, on Burrow cards. I just found that I found it interesting. I wasn't in the market for either one. Just doing some research, just looking around.
Yeah. FD, you and I
know Dakota grabbed something there. Go ahead, Jimmy. I knew he was coming.
Let me see. What you got, Dakota?
Burrow.
There we go,
Oh,
man.
Yeah.
I ripped both of those. How lucky is that? I don't rip very much wax. I ripped both of these. And this optic, man, this optic hollow had been going for like $80 and it's going for 300 now. I immediately was like, that's getting listed. That's get this out of the house, man. 300, you out of your mind.
Is on fire right now. It's on fire. He has ice in his veins, man.
Oh, man.
He doesn't really get in that game yesterday. He was not frazzled at all. He had a very confident look on his face in the huddle. I love the play where he was running to the sideline and almost got tackled a few times on a surgically repaired knee and still got the first down.
Yeah.
JP knows that I get hyped on Burrow. He's always telling me, "Favor." Yeah, I get hyped on him. I get hyped the way he plays. I also get hyped on Justin Herbert as well. We just got to let Justin Herbert get to the playoffs, but I think both of those guys are going to take the baton in the NFL and do a lot with it. They may be in some battles for who gets to the Super Bowl soon.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Go ahead, Dakota.
Well, just on Joey Burrow, because I really like Joey Burrow, but I've heard some rumors, right? He might have more than ice in his veins. So I'm kind of moving his stuff.
I think I've heard that too. I've heard that too. Edgar says, which team has more to lose and everything to win? I think the Rams have a lot to lose if they lose this game. I mean, I think the coach is probably in a position where he gave away draft picks, got himself a new quarterback, has to produce with that quarterback in order to keep his career going with the Rams. We know the quarterback of the Rams, Stafford, has lost many years with the Detroit Lions. What is his career going to end like? Because he's on probably the downturn of his career. What is it going to end like? The Cincinnati Bengals are a lot of young players and younger draft picks who are climbing the mountain to also see where their career is going to go. But they probably have more time on the field than some of the Rams players. That's just my thoughts. Though. You all let me know what you think.
Go ahead, Dakota. What you think, buddy?
I'm actually going to go the reverse here. I think for a lot of reasons, the Rams seem like the right choice, but I think we see a lot of times these young teams, they have these magical runs and then they don't reach the pinnacle and then they never make it back.
True.
I think the Bengals have been gifted this opportunity. Not to say they didn't earn it. They earned it, but they may not get this opportunity again. And with the Rams, I'm like, man, the Rams will be back here next year. I mean, to me, there's no question they'll be back here next year. So I think there's a lot riding on this there's a lot riding on it for both teams, honestly. And there's probably more pressure on a McVay and a Stafford and an Odell than, these, second year coach, second year quarterback, first year wide receiver, it's a lot different, but I think the Bengals really need to seize this because they may not get another chance.
Hey, but don't forget now, don't let Cooper Kupp get hurt next year, Dakota. That whole offense has to change.
Hey, but they'll have Robert Woods back.
That's true.
Yeah,
that is true.
But at the same time, how long do you think Von Miller is going to play? I don't think he's going to be playing much longer. He's on the down of his career.
Who's that?
So if you're looking at
Von Miller.
Von Miller. If you're looking at take that piece away and say if like you said, Cooper Kupp gets hurt or Woods gets hurt or Dale. To me, the Rams have more to lose just because they playing at home in their own stadium. So everybody's going to be looking at it. Can they get it done in their own stadium at home, like Tampa Bay did last year?
That's so crazy. Yeah.
Can they seize the moment? If they lose and they're going against a great Bengals defense, like you said earlier, Dakota, they kept Kansas City out of the end zone. And you playing against the Cheetah and all the rest of these guys that be moving around and Patrick Mahomes. I mean, it's a whole different ball game. So we got to look at it and see how this defense is going to play. I think they took some of the same blueprint that Tampa Bay had last year and added their own push to it.
From a defensive perspective, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I would say in both of y'all's favors, it may be Whitworth's last game too over there left tackle, and he's been a big part of that. So
probably will be.
Oh, is it really Andrew Whitworth? This is last season?
Yeah, he was hurt a couple of weeks ago and then came back, and he's been holding his own in the playoffs.
and he's phenomenal, but I mean, he's up there, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is pretty up there, yeah, as far as playing years. Wow.
Sydney says he's a Herbert guy, huh? All right. We got a lot of OG card scammers talking about Joey B. A lot of people hot on Burrow right now. We will see.
Yeah.
We will see.
Yeah.
Good evening from Colorado, Christopher. I was wondering what the three of you think about Mike Allsop. How come there hasn't been another superstar fullback like him? So Christopher, you asked this question, right? I just happened to grow up in Chicago, and Mike Allsop grew up right outside of Chicago and went to high school. He was a great running back in high school. I mean, his bench press and his squat was legendary around the city. You remember this, JP? Legendary. So he goes to Purdue, played with another good running back from Chicago, but Allsop was the star there, really, the long-term star as far as being healthy, being on the field. I just think all offenses, right, if you think about it, have moved away. To me, this goes into also the tight end conversation, because most offenses have moved away from a fullback to have more offensive threats on the field, and they set it up where they won't block someone off the edge, or they have a tight end chip someone off the edge, or a running back kind of help with the blocking to give the quarterback enough time to throw. And most of these throws nowadays are on a time schedule. So that blocking scheme is for so many seconds so that the ball is released and to a receiver before that defensive player can get there. So there really is no need. I mean, unless you're running the ball. But now most small passes are the equivalent of the run in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. I mean, Brady, Burrow, Aaron Rodgers is almost a king of this. Well, he's throwing a 3 to 5 yard pass, and then they're moving the chains. Back in the day, that ball might have been handed off to Mike Allsop to pick up those yards. So that position is almost phased out in modern football. That's why you don't see it.
Well, unless you Bill Belichick, because Belichick's old school. When he runs the ball, he uses a fullback. And we know that fullback is going to pound the middle, whether it's Nikovich or whoever. They had the people that were going to pound the middle and they was going to run the ball.
Yeah, but he's really smart, right? So he's going to move that fullback around. Sometimes they line up at an H-back, which is like a fullback or a tight end. Sometimes they line up as a tight end in the set. That could be a lot of things that he's doing with that person to move him around in that blocking scheme. But you're not going to see that person carry the ball too much for New England.
No.
It's fullbacks really, since All-Star, it's really changed because, I mean, speaking of Belichick and the Pats, Kevin Falk's not really a fullback, but they kind of used him in that role. Bigger back, third down back, block here and there. And then from there, you see in the mid-2000s, you see the Vontae Leaches of the world, these big, massive guys who block. And now when you look at a fullback, they're a specialist. They're almost like a special teamer. You look at Juice for the 49ers. He's a guy, he holds snaps in the kicking game. He blocks in the running game. He catches out of the backfield. He plays special teams. And that's really what a fullback has become, is this like Swiss Army knife versatility guy where you can just line him up and he can just do a lot of different things.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Great point.
It's interesting how sports evolves like that, Like we were in a conversation, I think, a week or two ago, just about the tight end position. It's not a position that's asked to line up and block people anymore. It's pretty much a position that's asked to be a slot receiver.
Yep.
I mean, you may chip on the edge, keep someone off your quarterback, but you're going to run a route and you're going to catch the ball, or you're going to do some kind of block while I'm in front of Dakota. Dakota's trying to get to the running back. I'm just in front of him, but I'm not really trying to block him. I'm just in his way.
What? Yeah, not unless you.
Sorry, go ahead, JP.
No, go ahead, Dakota. No, go ahead, Dakota.
Well, educate me here a little bit. In my opinion, I mean, I guess it goes all the way back like to Kellen Winslow or Ozzie Newsome or something. But to me, really, that tight end becomes like this with Shannon Sharp. Is there a player before that really started to transform?
Kellen Winslow was like the first player that started playing this modern type of tight end. Shannon Sharp was also that. Jay Novacek was also that.
Jay,
those offenses started opening up to get that tight end the ball and be that fallout for like Jay Novacek was just saving Troy Aikman every chance he could.
Oh yeah, and you got to look at when you had in New England, you had Hernandez and then you had Gronk, so you can pick your poison on both sides when you had those double tight ends on both sides. It's like pick your poison.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Now JP, you're gonna love this question right here. Our Canton card collector. If Aaron Donald gets a ring, does this cement his legacy as the greatest defensive lineman?
No.
Why you think not?
I would say that I would say no. How does that make him the greatest defensive lineman? I mean, come on now. We talking about Sap. I mean, there's a lot of people we talking about here when we talking about defensive linemen.
You know, a part of the modern game, I think, too, is now we have social media. There is more hype around or a PR process around players than we've ever seen before. So we can name off, we're down in the trenches of the sport, you know. We can name off a bunch of people that we may think is better than Aaron Donald. But he's probably the most seen, viewed, maybe even interviewed outside of the sports world. Like you see Aaron Donald different places talking about football and other things than probably anyone else. That's probably what's leading to this question. You know, you see him in different places. You see him without his helmet on. He's talking about the game.
Yeah, but you hit on the key is social media. You know, I posed that same question when you think about, like I said before, if we're talking about legendary people, right? We're talking about, just think of Run DMC if they had social media. They was already super colossal, but where would they be in the social media era if you bring them into the now of them having social media? Or where would they be at as far as entertainment? So social media is the key, the platform now to help people springboard or propel their careers into a different stratosphere.
A Super Bowl ring for Donald does not. I still have Reggie White and Dave Deacon Jones ahead of him. You know, one ring doesn't get there. So
there you go. Oh, I love it, man. Those are two of the greats.
I mean, it would take like 3 or 4 more just really dominant years before I feel like I want to start having that conversation. Maybe 2 more. I don't know. But a ring for me just doesn't do it. Not yet.
Yeah. But Dakota, you hit on something. When you talk about Reggie, right? Reggie White. Who has done it better than Reggie White?
I mean, what 300 plus pound defensive ends have we seen?
Yeah.
You don't see that.
With that move with the hip toss, come on, man. With the one hand.
The typewriter, they called it.
And we knew what Deacon Jones did with the fearsome foursome. We knew what they did.
Oh, we're talking about other fullbacks here. Tom Rathman, Lorenzo Neal, Max Strong, Raymond Harris, Larry Centers.
Who was the Packers fullback? That white guy with Rodgers. John Runyon? No,
John Runyon was offensive guy, offensive line dude.
John Kuhn.
Kuhn. That's it. Kuhn. Yeah.
Yeah, but everybody here that's named, I wouldn't want to be blockbound.
No, heck no.
Those are some days, man.
So Tua also mentions he goes on. He says Bruce Smith a little bit later, just talking about defensive ends. So I thought about Bruce Smith when I said Reggie White and Deacon. And remember, I'm born in 91, right? So I'm like, I don't know. I might take Donald over Bruce Smith right now. I don't know. To me, they're pretty close. A ring might push him over Bruce Smith. That might be enough to push him over Bruce Smith, but he might already be over Bruce Smith. I mean, Donald's been amazing.
He has been. JJ Watt has to be mentioned.
No,
too many injuries.
Yeah, too many injuries. Hurt too much, pulling this, pulling
Yeah,
that,
yeah, bro.
dislocating this. You know,
Signed
people
to
fail to
Texans
realize.
for.
I always bring this stat up, right? J.J. Watt was a walk-on at Wisconsin.
Yeah, man.
I always bring
Yeah.
this up. A walk-on.
I mean, but when you start talking about Bruce Smith or Moose Johnson, yeah, you can't forget about that.
Yeah, Daryl Johnson. I met him in person once. Friendliest person in the world. But the way he used to open up holes for Emmitt Smith, it was
Oh
brutal.
my Lord. Yes.
It was brutal.
That whole offensive line.
Yeah, I know. Love What You Collect is a huge fan of Shannon Sharp.
Oh yeah, man. Come on.
Huge
Man.
fan.
My question I want to pose is when does his brother Sterling Sharp go into the Hall of Fame?
You think he'll ever make it?
Yeah, he should. Are you kidding me? Sterling Sharp not in the Hall of Fame. That's a travesty. That is a
It'll be
travesty.
interesting. Because, you know, there was a question on Terrell Davis, would he ever make it? But he has very similar stats as Gale Sayers. And he made it.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question. This was something that was on my mind this week. So Ben Roethlisberger is retiring, right?
Mm-hmm.
How does he stack up if you look at the numbers, trajectory of their careers? How does he stack? Well, what does he stack up at all time as a quarterback? And how does he stack up against Aaron Rodgers when we talk about greatness?
So I'll take it. There's a Big Ben for you. There's a Precious Metal Gems Big Ben. There you
Miami
go.
of Ohio right there. Yeah.
Yep. To me, man, Big Ben is trash. Like I mean, I don't even want him in the Hall of Fame. It's a travesty he's gonna even make the Hall of Fame, man.
Now, why do you say he's trash, Dakota? He got 60,000 yards passing.
He was given the God-given ability so many people would die for, and he didn't utilize it to the fullest extent. I mean, like he has God-given ability, and he's gonna make the Hall because of that, and right on. But man, did he waste it. And I hope Josh Allen learns that lesson, man. And he was given and then he's gifted one of the best organizations in the entire NFL.
True.
And I mean, I don't know, man. To me, I'd rather have Eli Manning than Big Ben. You know, I don't know.
What? Oh,
Now, Dakota, you know he's got 2 Super Bowl rings now.
Well, so does Eli.
All right, yeah, all right.
Man, okay. Let me jump in here, Dakota.
Jump
You're
in.
talking about Eli, right? You talking about somebody being gifted. The Manning boys were gifted. Let's look at the situation that they were put in, right? Let's take him and his brother Peyton Manning. When they both entered into the teams of the New York Giants and also the Indianapolis Colts, look at the people that they had around them. All the Hall of Famers. Come on now, we talking about somebody that's being gifted. That's being gifted right there.
I mean, Big Ben's not too much different. We're not talking about David Carr and the Texans now. We're talking about Big Ben and the Steelers. You know, he's got a lot of talent around him too.
Yeah, but not as much as Peyton Manning and Eli had.
Man, I don't know.
It's just interesting to me to see when someone, because his name never comes up. When someone talks about great quarterbacks or what's my top 5 or what's my top 7, you're not hearing Ben Roethlisberger come up. So I was sitting around doing some research on stuff, and I started looking up stats, just going straight off the numbers. He has a lot of passing yards. He was in 2 Super Bowls. The first one with Jerome Bettis, he was a facilitator of that game. Then Roethlisberger wasn't really throwing the ball. You know, he was handing the ball off. I think he had just maybe over 170 yards or something in that game. But since then, the offense has changed. He throws the ball more. They try to get him some running backs in there. I just don't know where he sits. You know, it's in some ways I think he could be better than some other players, and in some ways I think he could not be, just because of how Ben does his thing. You know,
to me, these numbers are juiced. So Paul talked about it in chat there a little bit. He talked about how Aaron Donald has so many sacks. He'll be the first defensive tackle to ever get that many sacks. It's a different game, man.
Totally different game.
You know,
totally
instead of 20 dropbacks a game, there's 40. Okay, well now you've doubled the amount of sacks that a defensive lineman could get. Same thing goes for quarterbacks. Guys like Matty Ice, Big Ben, they're going to retire, and people will be like, oh my God, look at those numbers. In 15 years, we're going to forget those numbers existed because these guys are going to just blow them out of the water with how much they're throwing.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to think Joe Montana has 36,000 yards passing. And we thought he was just throwing it, just slinging the ball.
Yeah.
And that's all he had. He only had 60-something touchdowns with Jerry Rice. People are passing that down in no time. Yep. We thought at the time, like, man, that's phenomenal. You got to think also Troy Aikman was averaging about 190 yards a game, 200 yards a game passing the ball. And that's when Emmitt Smith was around almost 400 carries a year. This is a totally different sport now. Still called the NFL. They still wear helmets and they attempt to tackle each other, but it's a totally different sport.
So let me ask y'all a question. Let me pose this question. So when greats come up, how often do we hear Troy Aikman's name?
That's what I'm saying. He was like a facilitator of the game, handed the ball off. He threw to Harper and
Irvin.
And Irvin on the other side, but their offense was not about slinging the ball. Michael Irvin did a lot of blocking in that offense. Blocked his way to the Hall of Fame. So it's just a different era. And also as a lineman, right? Aaron Donald rushes the pass, or he's back in the day in the 70s, he would have had somebody blocking him and someone else taking his knees out.
Oh, yes.
And that doesn't even get a count. You know, he's just running wild out there right now. He'd have probably been on the sidelines hurt 3-4 years ago. A significant injury. So it's just a different game, you know.
Yep.
That's why when you look at like the yards that Brady has put up and that Drew Brees would have never had those numbers back in the day. It's not happening.
No, I mean he wouldn't. I mean, but I don't know, man.
If Drew Brees was a 94 rookie, he would have played 3 years, man. That would have been it. His career would have been over. Shoulder gone. And I don't know what offenses would have suited his height and how he throws the ball. He would have had to go play at San Francisco.
Mike Ditka had Doug Flutie taking a snap under center and dropping back 5 yards, man. Mike Dicka's like, I don't care how tall you are, you're going to play this offense the way I want you to. And then he was screaming at Flutie from the sideline, what are you doing?
Oh my God.
Crazy, man. Then Flutie goes to the Buffalo Bills and just throwing the ball, slinging the ball.
I mean, Ditka was setting his ways, you know, but I do think that's what makes football so interesting now is you've got a quarterback can play infinite number of different ways. And now it's on the coach to figure out how to make a scheme fit around him versus making him fit in his scheme. That's what, man, I love Cordell Stewart, man. And I'm like, man, I wish Slash was playing today. I can't imagine how great he would be.
He would cause many problems.
Man.
Slash came out of Colorado, he would cause all kind of problems.
Yeah, he would. Him and Vic. I mean, definitely, if you think about it, Mike Vick would cause havoc on the league right now.
You know what I wish for Michael Vick? I wish Michael Vick would have sat down and studied a defense. He came out and played on his raw athletic ability all the time.
Oh, yeah, bro. And emphasizing. But you got to look at it. If you look at Patrick Mahomes, he plays like Vick, and he also plays like Brett Favre. To where he is sometimes improvising back school, pointing, running around. You go here, and these people are just running the spots, and he's just dead on with it.
That's true.
So,
that's true. It's something makes you. So let's ask this question now. This is something else that came up in my mind. Brady cards, right? So let's say Brady does retire. So first, do we think Brady's retiring?
Yes.
I believe Brady is waiting for the Super Bowl to be over with. I don't think he wants to take away from what these guys have done getting to the Super Bowl, and then he's going to make his announcement.
Yeah.
Do you think so, JP?
Yeah, and I think that the dude is not going to retire. I think he's going to play one more season.
I think you want him to. I think you want him to.
No,
I think
I'm just saying,
yeah, I
bro.
want to see Brady. I can see Brady till the cows come home. I would love to see him play, but I would also not like to see him not being able to walk off the field. And I think he's the only one of the few quarterbacks that's going out on his own merit. Like he's going out the way he wants to go out. So let's say Brady's gone, right? What happens to his car values? Do they go up? Or is there going to be, what do we predict? I believe his car values are going to go up.
Go ahead, Dakota. What you think, buddy?
Well, let me see. I posted this in a poll. Why I pull it up? Because I'm just curious what chat said. But what I read, and I read that if he retires after February 14th, or after February 4th, he gets $15 million signing bonus. So
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of. I think he's made the decision.
That's definitely an incentive to hold your horses.
Heck yes. I think he made the decision to retire, and then they accidentally announced his company announced that he was retiring, and then they pulled the tweet, and I think it's because of the timing. Let me see this poll real fast. Oh, go ahead, JP.
He was not happy about that because he said that, he made the statement that when I make an announcement or a decision, it is on me. It's not on nobody else. And, you remember the statement that his father said that he hasn't made a decision yet. So it's kind of like you would think that the dad would know what's going on. He might talk to his parents, his family, to kind of see what he wants to do.
What you got, Dakota? What does your poll say?
So I had 4 options. It's a mix, but the number 1 option was Brady has a quick bump followed by a steady decline. That was 47%. And then another 32% said Brady to the moon. So you've got nearly 80% saying Brady's going up.
I think Brady's going up.
I'll stick with my chat. I'll stick with my polls. Trust the polls.
Trust the number. It's interesting when you have somebody out there in the marketplace as far as collectability on the card, and they've done something no one else has ever done. Just from a playing perspective, it's just interesting to see what will happen.
This is only tackle hired would be Randall. Very interesting.
I know you like John Randall.
Yeah, Johnny Randall, man, that dude was a beast.
I think I got a John Randall right here, man. All I do is buy football, yo. I got a Bruce Smith right there. I didn't show that's a refractor. I know it's a bad job, but I'm trying to get to my Randall.
Yeah.
That's a 97 Skybox Impact Rave. That's numbered to 150. That's a beautiful card.
Look at that. Look at that. You got legend. See, yeah, I got some Johnny Randall too, baby. Yes, sir.
And everybody should know John Randall was not drafted, but had a motor and played like you won't really see anybody else play.
Nope.
Was always on the move, trying to get to the quarterback or get to the running back.
Yes, sir.
And even being a Bears fan, when they played the Vikings, I just wanted to see how he was going to do his thing.
Yeah.
Age Coupler was an underrated tight end. Christopher King.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know too much about Coupler.
Oh, he was awesome.
When did he play?
That was Vic's go-to.
Oh, in Atlanta.
Yeah. Yep.
I have some kind of way. I put blinders on sometimes when Atlanta comes on. I forget those names. You know what I'm saying? I just saw really Michael Vick on the field with 10 other people just running all over the place when he was there. Right?
Vic is he's a great person to listen to today. I mean, obviously he went through so much and he's come a long way, off the field, but on the field too, man. When he has that resurgence in Philadelphia, he talks about exactly what you said. Was like when he was in Atlanta, he was learning how to be kind of a leader under was it Martz there? I think it's not Martz, it's a Vermeil. I forget now. But he says he didn't, like you said, he was playing playground football.
Oh, he didn't study. No.
Yeah.
Because I watched his 30 for 30. He didn't study the game at all.
Exactly. Yeah. 100%. Then he goes to Philly and McNabb is a mentor of his. And McNabb's like, look, I got you this opportunity. You need to do right. And, Vic took that to heart and he really studied under Reed. And that's when he has that. I don't know. I don't think he won MVP. He might have won MVP. I don't remember. He had that phenomenal season like in 2011 or 2012 or something. It's just amazing. And it's just like, man, what could have been, if he would have. But he had to take his journey, man. That's the journey he took. So,
yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Junkyard said Aikman is number 2. Hold on, Junkyard, let me know. Are you talking about Aikman's number 2 or number 2 O-line?
Number 2 O-line. He's saying
O-line.
Yeah.
Number 1 or number 2. Emmitt Smith didn't really get touched too much.
Who's number one now?
Yeah.
I don't know, but
I want to know who's number one. If that O-line is number two, I want to know who's number one.
well, Adam said Aikman is the most overrated player of all time.
I wouldn't say that now.
Adam might be also an Oklahoma fan, you know.
Hmm.
I don't know. Would Russell Wilson have a career back in the day? I think so. I think he's athletic enough, has a strong enough arm. I think so. He's cerebral enough in what he's doing and reading and what the defense is going to give him. I think he would.
Man, I don't know about that.
You don't think so?
No. I mean, I would have to disagree.
I think he'd look a lot more like Steve Young if he played back in the day.
Yep.
Yeah. That's okay. Now we getting somewhere.
But I think he would still be successful, though. I think he's still.
That's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not saying that he would not be at the level to where he wouldn't be Hall of Fame. But what I'm saying is, if you think he's gonna come out there and be this guy that every time you had a season that you say, oh, this dude's gonna take us to the promised land, I don't know about that.
So this is what Paul says on Brady. He also owes the team $16 million if he retires. So he owes $1 million in back bonus. The contract trigger does nothing.
Paul's probably wrong. He don't know. I'm just kidding.
Paul lives on the detail. He's like Paul.
Yeah, he does, man. Paul knows his stuff.
Yeah,
man.
I know his vibe. Yeah. When he speaks, he is all types. He has done research. Sydney, hold your Brady's.
Yeah.
All right. Dakota pumping football 2022.
Yep.
Oh, Dan Reeves was the coach in Atlanta.
Dan Reeves. Thanks, Jeff.
All right.
Yeah.
Number one was probably the 1970s Raiders offensive line.
Oh.
Who's all Jim Otto's on that line? I don't know who else is on that line.
I can't remember who else.
Yeah. I couldn't. I can't recall.
Oh, is Upshaw? He's on that line too, right?
Gene
Upshaw. Yeah,
he's a good player. Very good player. And
and Art Shell. Art Shell's on that line too. Well, man,
Art Shell's on that team. Yeah.
That is pretty good.
They're the team. They're the squad. Art Shell. I'll never forget when he told Randy Moss, "You might as well go sit down." And then Art Shell brought in an offensive coordinator that was running a bed and breakfast the year before.
Man,
I love that stuff. Yeah, and Art came in there like, I'm going to win games. Yeah, okay. Sylvester Boston. Who do you think are the top 5 young quarterbacks in the NFL? Well, we know we got Burrow, Herbert, right? Man, young quarterbacks.
Are Mahomes and Allen young quarterbacks?
I would consider them young.
So there's 4 right there, right?
4. Can't think of a 5th. I had to think on that one.
Do Lamar, could do anyway. I'd probably go Trevor Lawrence, but I mean, we'll see what happens. I don't know.
What do you think of Trevor Lawrence as a player, Dakota?
I like Trevor Lawrence quite a bit. I think the Jaguars are a horrible franchise. I hope they get that figured out. Byron Leftwich, I like Byron Leftwich quite a bit. If they hire him, that might work out. But I like Trevor.
Trevor Lawrence to me is overrated.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's fair. After this last year, that's fair.
It's just hard to give him a grade, though, with all that's going down in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
It's hard to.
Yeah.
I watched some games where he looked pretty decent. I saw some other games where he didn't. It's just hard
But you gotta look at Jacksonville at one point in time. Their defense reminded me of the 2000 Baltimore Ravens when you think about it. When they had like Miles Jack, Calais Campbell, and Doc Wade, Jalen Ramsey. Those dudes were like all pro. Those are all pro players when they had that defense. It was the offense that made you question, can this team be great to get to the get to the promised land? They had the defensive side sold up, but the offensive was what was in question for me.
Well, if you don't get a top quarterback though in a draft or in some kind of like, what do you do as an organization? You're pretty much you got to wait it out. And I think Jacksonville got caught up in their defense was ready, offenses wasn't ready. Chicago Bears have seen that many, many times. But the defense was ready, offense was not ready. We're going to shift gears here a little bit. Christopher King asked the question: are they ever going to let Barry Bonds in the Hall of Fame? I'm gonna throw on top Roger Clemens as well. I don't think so.
Nope.
I could be wrong. Right now, he's in a position where he's going to the veterans to vote.
Mm-hmm.
And the veterans historically have not voted anybody in who has allegedly been involved with steroid use or PED use into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I just don't see it. Now, do I think Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame? Yes, I do. And I think quite a few players should probably be in and have some kind of asterisk by their name or some kind of denotation. But I think you can't do that because he's never been caught with steroids.
Yeah. But I mean, you got to look at, you can ask the same questions. Do you let Sammy Sosa in? Do you let Mark McGwire in?
Hey, I believe Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. I mean, I 100% agree.
Yeah, I just don't see it happening.
What you think, Dakota? What do you think? I know your mind is right.
I think before I die, he'll get in, but maybe not before he dies. I think they'll let him in at some point. I don't know. It's a shame these writers don't let him in anyway. I think it's absurd that they're holding him out, but I think he'll get in eventually. And I think Rose will get in eventually too, but again, before I die, not before he dies.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were letting these players in after they pass away. I mean, it's just like, Now, there are a few players going in this year that they wish they could have seen that. But no. But Mac Jones, Chris Morrow says, is probably the number 5 young quarterback that's out there. Is Mac Jones a very good quarterback, or is he a very good does he run the scheme well?
He's a very good rookie is what he is. What we're going to see is 10 years down the line, we're going to look at Mac Jones and be like, well, he hasn't really got any better. What you're seeing of Mac Jones is the best version of Mac Jones. And, I don't see it long term. I mean, look, he's going to be in the league for a long time. He's going to have a long career. He's going to be okay as a quarterback. He's never going to be the elite A-tier level quarterback. It's just not going to happen.
Now, the hobby, though. His cars are doing quite well from a value, from a dollar standpoint of what their value is. Somebody out there is believing in Mac Jones. Yeah, it's just hard for me. It's hard for me to really get excited about him. It's difficult.
Well, I can say the same thing about these quarterbacks that are coming out of college. Do you think this Georgia quarterback is a potential pro NFL quarterback?
What about Pittsburgh's quarterback? He's probably going to be number 1.
I don't even know who that is. That's a great question.
He's going to be number 1.
Yeah, he's look, I'm not big on this quarterback class, but the only one that people were really starting to murmur about is that Pittsburgh Pickens, I think is his name or something.
Yep.
I've never heard of that guy before.
Well, Paul's dropping knowledge. They let murderers in the Hall of Fame, but may or may not have popped a pill when everyone else did. Baseball writers are a joke. Now, if you get Paul is spot on. If you get into the background of some people that are in the Hall of Fame, you don't have to scratch too far before you find all kind of stuff has went down. But they're in the Hall of Fame. They're in the baseball Hall of
Fame. Who is murdered? I'm about to do my investigation to see what's going down.
And this look, I'm a Houston guy, so I hate baseball media because they have a big coast bias. And news chat down there, and Glorious Pete is spot on. I've been telling people Big Papi's going to make the Hall. And people were like, oh, but he got, used steroids for a little bit or something. I'm like, he plays for Boston. A lot of the voters are Boston fans. He's going to get in first ballot. Boom. It's a joke that he gets in first ballot. They made Bagwell wait for 5 years because he maybe never once tested positive for steroids. But it's fine. It's whatever. I'm not salty.
Well, that was the first thing I called some friends and said after Big Papi got in is that, yeah, he was in the steroid conversation. But let me ask you this, and this is another thing that came to my mind. Let's see what you all think. Big Papi left baseball and then worked on his public image, right? Almost similar to Randy Moss, where he went to TV coverage and talked about the World Series, the playoffs. He let people get to know him more, see his face, see his opinions, talk to him about stuff before trying to get into the Hall of Fame. Well, Randy Moss left the Raiders. He was not Hall of Fame, but nobody was voting him into the Hall of Fame. When he went to the Patriots and did what he did, he was a Hall of Famer, but when he left the game, he still wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer. But when he went on this he started with Fox, went to ESPN, started talking about sports, letting people know his personality. To me, it helps people when they do jobs like that, to aid them to get in or let people see a different side of them. What do you all think?
100%. It's a popularity thing. These writers vote for them. You work with them, you smooch them a little bit, you take them out to dinner. All right, boom, I got your vote,
Yeah,
So,
but to me, what does it say about your play on the field? Let's push all BS to the side. What have these people done on the field? There's no way that somebody like Moss or T.O. should be waiting to get into the Hall.
100%. 100%.
Like them. That, to me, that is just ludicrous, and I just do not agree with these people that sit on these boards we need to, it's just like clean out the cupboard. We got to get all around the baseboard, sweep real good, do all that, clean these people out, and get some new people in there that's going to say, what did these people do on the field?
Let me just say this, Fire Sports Cards. I'm just going to give you a little bit of my background. And my background is only one background. But Brady was investigated and suspended for cheating, and he's getting into the Hall of Fame, right? Every quarterback that I ever played with or I've seen play changes the amount of air that's in their ball. Based upon hand size, based upon the preferred grip, whatever it may be. Every quarterback. Aaron Rodgers is not throwing the same ball that Tom Brady's throwing. And when you get to the game, balls stay on either sideline. So if Brady's throwing with certain balls, they stay on his sideline. If Aaron Rodgers is in that game throwing with balls, they stay on his sideline because that's what they want. Those balls are not mixed up. And it's somebody's job to make sure that never happens. Those balls also have a branded imprint of the team's emblem or something about that team to make sure we know which ball is which ball. But I've never seen, and this has happened throughout the course of the NFL, never seen this come up before it was Tom Brady that it came up on. Yeah. So I'm just going to say that.
Anybody that plays the game knows that in inclement weather that the ball is going to deflate. We know that. We know that referees are going to check the balls and do whatever. But anybody that plays the game would know that what you just stated, FD, is fact. So, I mean, this conversation to me should be dead.
It reminds me also, remember the thing with the tripping incident on the Patriots sideline? With the player running on the field, I think on a kickoff or something, and someone stuck their leg out and tried to trip him.
That's the Steelers, I think, right?
I've also seen, maybe it was, also seen that happen.
Yeah, that was Pittsburgh.
Yeah, many times.
That was Joey Porter. Joey Porter did it, that sucker. Yeah.
Good old Joey Porter.
Oh, man. I'm telling you.
That's funny. Somebody else here said something about Kyler Murray.
That's true. Yeah. Kyler probably deserves to be up there above Lawrence right now.
What year is Kyler Murray? Is he in his second year or is this his third year?
Right? Isn't his third year?
He just played his third, 20, 21. He just played his third, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I forgot about him, man, actually.
Cowboys fans said, "Will A-Rod get in?" No. If Barry Bonds is having a problem getting in, I don't see A-Rod getting in. And this is a
Yeah.
person where I don't, even people that seem to work around in the media, their idea has not changed about him.
So you think that? I think A-Rod may get in before Barry Bonds get in.
His numbers are dropping though, JP. His vote percentage is dropping every year he's on the ballot.
But we know that don't mean
Barry
nothing, right?
Bonds' percentage actually went up.
Yeah. Well, with how things work nowadays, we know that don't matter.
Yeah, I saw this about Canton car collector. Lester Hayes is not in. That is interesting. Quite interesting.
Yeah.
So I want to switch gears here as well. So when we talk about Jordan, LeBron,
Oh my
and
God.
Kobe Bryant, who's really the GOAT, Dakota? Who do you think the GOAT is? When you feel goatish, who are you thinking about?
I mean, look, I get this question a lot, and as someone who's a decade younger than most of the people in the hobby, my GOAT's LeBron, and that's not. It's not. I don't say that to say MJ's not the GOAT. It's me saying I start watching basketball like LeBron's rookie year. I don't have the full appreciation for what MJ did, and on top of that, I'm a Rockets fan, so screw MJ because I got 2 championships, and everyone's like, "Well, MJ wasn't playing, so it doesn't count." So I don't like him. So, I love Kobe too, man. But
that's
to
because
me,
Dakota, I think you really know that if MJ was still playing, you wouldn't have the rings.
he wouldn't.
You wouldn't. Houston wouldn't.
You would.
No, I disagree. Well, look, in my opinion, and I think The Last Dance confirms this. I think that if MJ just played the whole way through, he wouldn't have won 6. He might have won 5 straight, which would have been amazing. But I don't think he would have won. I think he just would have got too tired. I mean, he seemed exhausted at the end of that. Like that's my opinion.
6 would be hard in a row. 6 in a row would be hard. Yeah, I'm going with MJ. Just because when MJ first started, I think I was 8 or 9 years old. I watched his whole career. Saw games in a season that really don't matter to most players, but MJ will find a way to get motivated by something that went on in that game for it to matter. Just like tonight, right? Kevin Porter Jr., Houston is playing Golden State. Kevin Porter Jr. starts like staring Curry down, talking a little trash to him, right? Curry ends the game with 40 points. Kevin Porter Jr. ends the game with 17. And Mike Jordan he will find something in that game to get motivated about it and then try to destroy a person. And not just destroy them, but their whole wheel of who are you to be challenging me on this court, which many people can interpret in many different ways. But being a Chicago fan, I just loved him. How he got down every night, what he did. And many games, we talk about points and we talk about statistics. A lot of games in 96, 97, 98, 93, Mike Jordan was on the bench in the fourth quarter. Wasn't even playing. So to me, LeBron just rings that towel out, right? He's going to get every minute out of that game and every statistic he can. And I can appreciate that because he's healthy enough to right now. But my vote is Mike Jordan.
It's interesting. Let me ask you this. When you say who's the greatest player of all time, what does that mean? What defines the greatest?
When I put the ball in their hand at the end of the game, they can take the game over. This is just me talking. They can take the game over. If it's game 5, 6, or 7, they're going to shut that game down. If they match up against any All-Star in a regular season game or the playoff game, they're going to be the best player on the court. To me, that's what the GOAT is. That's just that's me.
Let me drop this knowledge. Okay, so let's look at what MJ did because he only played 12 years, right? 12 years. The dude led the league in scoring for 10 years. And he only played 12 years. Led the league in scoring 10 times. So that's 10 years he led the league in scoring, only played 12 years, right? So let's look at, he took time off to go play baseball or personal matters, whatever. You still had Kobe and LeBron that was their chance to get all the points, all of the what's name. And it's still some statistic categories that they still had not caught this dude in. We're talking about championships. Now, mind you, this dude never played in the game 7. Never played in the game 7. Let's not even bring that up. So we're talking about somebody that dominated the game on both ends of the floor. We're not talking about low managing or taking plays off, or I've got this going on, I got this going on low. No, there was none of that going on. We're talking about somebody that dominated on the offensive end and also on the defensive end, and that wanted to take your best player. Now, it's videos out there of LeBron James fans that watch MJ, and once they start watching MJ videos, change their mind very quickly.
So I think these are good points. And this is my whole point about the GOAT conversation. Yeah, I think the comment's perfect. My argument isn't that LeBron's better. It's that, like, I'm not knowledgeable enough to tell you MJ's better than LeBron.
Oh, I understand.
Because I never watched him, and I haven't done the research. Now, I'll talk about quarterbacks from the 50s because I've done the research, and I understand how important it. And I just haven't done that deep dive on the basketball. So I understand MJ's impact from a size and a scale, but just for sitting down and watching, the best player I've really watched is LeBron, but it's because I haven't sat down and watched MJ or Wilt or Kareem or hell, even Magic. You know, I mean, so it's just ignorance. It's pure ignorance. Best player I've seen is LeBron, but that's an ignorant take because I haven't seen everybody. So.
Oh, I can respect it though.
No,
I've met people here in LA who have only seen Kobe Bryant play, and they only focus on Kobe. And they said they watched Mike with the last couple of years with the Washington a Wizards team, and then they made their decision based upon that.
Yeah,
I understand. I never forget. I tell the story all the time. I came in the living room, told my father, "Hey man, you got to turn on the TV. This is like who they're saying going to be the next great player in the NBA." And he was like, "Who is that?" And ain't nobody better than Dr. J. Who's better than Dr. J? So I turn on the TV, and he's just saying, with a very critical eye looking, watching the game. Bro, leaning in his seat, just watching. And as the game progresses, he looks over at me. He all right. He's okay. And then as the game goes on, Mike ends the game, and he was like, okay, he's all right. He needs to do this better. He needs to do that better. This is like Mike's second year. And then by the time Mike hit year 5 on, he got convinced that he had never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
But, I respect everybody's opinion, Dakota.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know a lot of people in LA that will not, they don't think Michael Jordan is the GOAT. Not at all.
But me personally, actually being at the stadium and watching this guy play, I mean, dude, this just will blow your mind, man. Watching this dude play in person, man, it's a whole different feeling, baby.
Loco say he's going all the way back to high school. Got to take it all into consideration. Junkyard GOAT hunters. GOAT equals holds most records by sport and position.
I don't like that rule because, like, if you're going to say holds most records, then some records need to have more weight than the others. Some records are more important than the others. So,
yeah,
I just look at when you play. If Dakota's the GOAT, right, and I'm up and coming, and I want to be the GOAT, and I play against Dakota, am I winning the game? And is most of the points being scored by me in that win? If I continue to do that over and over and over again. It's like when Kareem first came out. He gave Wilt Chamberlain the fits by this athletic ability and his foot movement and where Wilt was in his career. Now, the Wilt that played with the Harlem Globetrotters and that played in Philadelphia, if those two play, I don't know what's happening. But the later Wilt, the in LA and I'm kicking it Wilt, was playing against Kareem. And then that's a totally different thing.
Kicking it Wilt.
Wilt was kicking it now. Don't play.
Yeah. But no, I think that's a great valid point that you made, FD. And also too, you, Dakota, that's a great point that you made as far as like the records will have to hold more weight. But the similarity that I can give is, they're calling Mahomes the great, but Mahomes is 0-2 against Brady, baby. Let's not forget that.
But again, I think that goes into this whole conversation about the media hype and the social media, and Mahomes is a good player, and then how he plays, how he slings the ball, all that goes into people just being captivated by him. I watch the game from a different perspective than probably other people. I'm watching the line, watching what the quarterback does. I can see a route become open before the quarterback even throws the ball. So I'm looking at it from a different lens. And when I look at Tom Brady and how he plays and the technique that he plays with, right? If he's faking a dive and then throwing, it looks the same way as when he's faking a dive and giving the ball to the running back. It looks the exact same way. Peyton Manning was great at that. It all looks the exact same way.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of modern day quarterbacks, you can tell they're not throwing this play right here. They're not throwing the ball.
Yeah.
Just everything about the play is totally different. So, and then you can see receivers. Some of these young receivers don't come off the ball as if they're about to get the ball in a route.
You see that a lot.
Yeah, you see that a lot. It's just like lazy play. We're just going to hustle over and see if we can get in front of the person. And that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, some of these old school coaches that we all knew, you're not playing a game like that. It's not happening.
No way. No. And that's what made Jerry Rice so dangerous, because he lined up the same way every single time.
Yeah, he was almost he counted his steps in every route. Just stop and think about that.
Yes.
You count your steps in every route that you run. If you run a streak, you know what a ball, when to look back and what a ball should be at by that quarterback, either Young or Montana. He was almost he was just like really into the game and everything. He cut everything else out. If he's running an end route, he knows what he's breaking and what a ball should be. So it's Jerry Rice is just very different.
But that's what greatness looks like, though.
Yeah. So Dakota, let's talk about some cars right quick, right? What are some of the cars in 2022 that's kind of on your radar you're looking at? What are you thinking about?
I bought a lot of the big ones that I wanted to buy already. I actually went through a big buying spree in January and bought a lot of the big cards that I wanted, like a Staubach rookie, Tom Landry rookie, things like, it's all football stuff.
Yeah, I've seen your Landry rookie. That's a great car.
The one card that I want, I don't know if I can get it this year. It's going to cost me at least $10,000 to move into. And guys, I usually spend $200 or less on a card. The Bronco Nagurski.
For everybody out there, there's nothing wrong with that. Dakota knows you can build a great collection with that strategy.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it's just way out of my normal price range. I'm happy to be in my $200 price range. And the Bronco Nagurski rookie, to me, it's the holy grail of football cards. It's the Honus Wagner of football cards. And if and when football ever catches up, I ain't going to be able to afford it. $10,000, I can kind of swing it, but $100,000, I ain't swinging it. So that's the card I'm looking for.
Wow. Where did you see? Did you see that? If you don't mind me asking, did you see that on eBay, or did you see that at a show? Or
yeah, I saw. There's two. So I kind of came into some money at the beginning of the month, and there was two Nagurskis, and if I could have got one for $5,000, I would have bought one on eBay. Sorry, but they were at $10,000, and I was like, well, let me just knock a lot of these off my list. So I've already knocked a ton of them off my list already for the years, which is kind of freeing too. I'm just looking around, seeing all sorts of stuff, which is fun.
Yep. Right. Yeah, that's a great card, though, man.
It's a great card.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
I'm glad I asked that question. I did not know that, but that is a wonderful card.
What about y'all? How you got to answer the question too?
I'm looking for a Jim Brown rookie that's autographed by Jim Brown.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I'm looking for an early autograph Willie Mays card.
Yeah.
What else is on my list? Some more Steph Curry. Like some rare Steph Curry. That people probably aren't even talking about Steph Curry. I like to do my own menu, man. A lot of the hobby will focus in on certain cards. They're just looking at that Topps Chrome LeBron James.
Mm-hmm.
focus in on it. We want the X Factor. We want the base card. We want we want every variation that we can get. But there are some LeBron James cards out there that are low population, low print run, numbered on the card that a lot of people don't talk about.
Yeah,
And to me, it's like that with almost every superstar that you can think of. There are some cards that don't really get that laser focus attention from the hobby. It's kind of where I go, kind of some of the stuff I look at.
yeah.
What about you, JP? What you thinking?
I'm really big on the Negro League, so Satchel Paige is one that I would love to definitely have. Of course, Jack Robinson is my man too, just as well. And definitely probably more Brady.
Sylvester Brown said, "Why Curry?"
What? Why not?
I respect your question. He's a player that changed the game. Shaq came in, they created a whole different way of playing defense in the NBA. Changed the game. Michael Jordan changed the game. Larry and Larry Bird and Magic Johnson changed the game. We could talk about Bill Russell. We could talk about Will Chamberlain. We could even go back to George Mikan. Changed the game, right? Curry changed the modern game of basketball. There are players like Trae Young who in the 80s and the 90s, I don't know what Trae Young's doing in the 80s.
Italy.
And the 90s. Yeah. He's not even in the NBA. and he should take I always say this, he should take a portion of his check every time he gets one and just mail that to Steph Curry. Just whatever foundation you want me to give to, whatever you want to do, because he has a career, because Steph Curry changed the game. Yep. So that's why Steph Curry for me.
Yeah.
Curry changed it so much differently, though. I do think low key Curry is like the best buy in basketball. I think he's the most underrated GOAT. And you talk about Shaq changed the game because he was amazing, and he was a 1-on-1, and he's just God gifted ability. And Steph's got it too, but Steph changed the game where it's like, man, everybody can play basketball at a high level. When you see Steph do it, you're like, man, shit, everybody could do this, because he wasn't 7'2" and just the most dominant, physically gifted player on the court. And it's really rare to see. I mean, Curry is a guy who dominated games. When we talk about GOATs, this is something I think about a lot. When you talk about GOATs down the line, this is my argument against John Morant. GOATs down the line. Just put all the people in your head. They all had size. Even Kobe had size. What, he's 6'6"? Curry's the only one, 6'3", I think he is. And even that is size for a point guard. To me, it's so important when you talk about great players of all time. History says they have to have size. And now they're saying if you can't have size, you got to be able to shoot threes. Ja doesn't have either, but that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, Ja doesn't. I'm just happy that Ja has developed a jump shot.
He's developing. It was much better at the beginning of the season. When he got hurt and came back, it hasn't been as good. But beginning of the season, I was like, okay, he gets that three down. It's a real deal.
Yeah.
So Sydney says Curry has hype bad stats. There's some hype, but there's some hype with probably every person that is notable in the NBA that's leading some kind of advertisement or doing anything. There's hype with those people. But Curry does produce on the court. He Silver Boston Sylvester said, I'm looking about Klay Thompson card. And then Chris said he's looking for that Bird Magic Irvin rookie card, Grail. Great card. Yeah. That's a great card. But Curry has put the work in. One story that Curry's brother told is that he liked to shoot the ball low. This is early in his career, like high school. He liked to shoot the ball low. And Dale Curry took him in the backyard, even when Curry was crying and upset, and made him raise that shot up. He said, you're too small to be shooting the ball that low. You're going to get blocked. So the player, just think about it, man. Dakota, we've talked about family and stuff like that before. Just having someone like Dale Curry break that down to you, take you in the backyard, no matter if you are upset about it or not, and have you go through hours. They said they went through hours of shooting to get his shot to where it is now. And if Curry's shooting an outside shot, very rarely is that blocked.
It's funny too. I've never really heard or thought about this before, but Jordan's dad notoriously, was there for him, and I mean, I guess Kobe's dad was too, right? I knew he was close with him, following him around in Europe, so that's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All of their parents had some form of impact on their lives. I mean, if you talk about, okay, let's look at it. When you talk about parenting, all of those players that you talked about had 2-parent households. When you look at it, they had both parents at home. The dads were playing sports. I mean, Jelly Bean was playing sports, and so was Dale. But yeah, when you look at it, they were a great impact on those guys.
Hey, just from playing myself, I can just say it's always good to have support and someone who is going to push you. Sometimes when you're discouraged, it's always good to have that in anything that you're doing. So, for the players that have that, it's great. For those who don't, I know they're probably finding or using something else to help them through hard times. But it's always great. Oh yeah.
Is Sydney trolling? I don't get Durant better than Curry. How can you possibly say when Durant wins a championship without Steph Curry supporting him? You maybe can make that claim. But until
what I want Sydney to tell us is why do you think? Now I know you said something about hype, but let's just talk about play on the court. Why do you think Curry is not that level of player? Just let us know that. That's what I want. And we all like the coach just said though. Durant went to a team to win a championship. Now, if Durant can win with Brooklyn or go somewhere himself and trailblaze that's a totally different conversation on Durant. I think that's always going to follow him.
I'm glad you brought that up because another person that Dakota likes had to go to another team to learn how to win championships, right? We're talking about LBJ, right? He had to leave Cleveland.
Again, I pleaded the fifth of ignorance here, but I will say
my man Dakota, I'm with you, man.
Cleveland's GM wasn't putting no Hall of Famers around LeBron like Chicago's GM did for MJ, is all I'm saying.
Even when they went to what?
Dakota, I gotta poke him a little bit.
Where does Scottie Pippen come from? Where? Central Arkansas?
I think that's right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Arkansas. Yeah.
Central Arkansas. Yeah. Well, he was a equipment manager for a few years.
Equipment manager. Yeah.
That's a wild story, man.
Meanwhile, LBJ trying to win with Eric Snow. You telling me it's the same thing? Okay.
Getting in arguments on the bench with Eric Snow. All right, Northern Lights Entertainment said, "Hey, FD, have you seen the new National Treasures NASCAR racing? They are the hottest looking cars on the market. Do you think they're the next big thing in cars?" I don't know anything about NASCAR cars.
I'm gonna have to look. I'm gonna have to do some homework on that.
What about you, Dakota? Do you track NASCAR?
No, man, I'm going the opposite direction. I've gone out of basketball. I've gone out of baseball. I'm football basically only now because I'm just like, that's what I know best. Let me just deep dive into that.
Yeah. I don't know Northern Lights. You have to tell me about National Treasures NASCAR. I do not know. Sydney said the eye test. All right, Sydney. Okay.
Durant is an assassin. You can't take that away from him. The dude is an assassin. Can play
speaking of leaving a team, how are you going to leave your team and then go join the team that beat you? Kevin Durant. Okay, yeah.
Hey, Sydney, you remember Curry hitting that three at mid court to put Durant in Oklahoma out of the playoffs? That's because no one wanted to play with him in LBJ. I think there's a theory to that. I've talked about this before. I think there are a lot of people that do not want to play with LeBron. I think this is why you have Russell Westbrook as his point guard.
Yeah, that's rough, man. Don't let LeBron be a GM. That's what I learned.
Oh, he's already the GM. He's already looking at players, and then after the game, he's just walking up the stairs, hitting the elevator button. That dude right there will not be here. I'm telling you. You can see him in the game. He's just staring players down like, okay.
You know what? Anytime you get fans kicked out of a game, Man, come on, man.
Yeah.
Now you got Melo doing that. He's getting fan like, come on, man. What are y'all doing?
We got Love What You Collect says KD is underappreciated. All right. Sydney's back. I remember Ray Allen hitting the shot of all shots.
Oh, that saved LBJ's career right there.
Sylvester Boston. Durant is a better player than Curry and played better defense. Curry is a great player, but Durant can play offense and defense. All right.
Well, when Durant leads a team to a championship, I'll give you that. But Curry's a better leader, so I'm going Curry.
Oh yeah, I'm going Curry as well. I respect it, Sylvester. All right, I respect it. It's just like when LeBron left and went to Miami, right? Then he came back to Cleveland and won a championship. I started thinking about him a lot differently after that. He put that squad on. I know you didn't, JP.
Nope.
But I sense a bias.
Oh boy. Okay.
Oh Lord.
All right. What does everybody have in the final four of the NBA? Well, in the West, I got Phoenix and Golden State.
Agree.
In the East, I couldn't even answer that question. I have no idea who's coming out of that. To me, they're all almost the same team.
So you taking Phoenix?
No, I'm saying I think Phoenix and Golden State would be in the West Conference Finals. But who's going to be in the East is the question.
Yeah, the East is a crapshoot. If I had to put money on it today, I guess I'd put Sixers and the Heat. That'd be my money. But the Bucks, man, how do you count the Bucks? I like the Heat over the Bucks. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Dakota. I would definitely have to say the Heat. And a lot of them players are starting to get healthy now, so you're really starting to see like them put it all together.
Yeah.
Philly. Yeah, I can definitely see Philly too.
Embiid is playing lights out right now.
Yeah, he is. Out. But I can say the same thing about Phoenix. If Chris Paul get hurt, you can wrap it up. That's just my humble opinion.
What if he doesn't though?
I still can't see them beat Golden State in the 7-game series.
I think Golden State's biggest weakness is lack of a big man, and somebody's going to try to expose that weakness.
True that, but what do you say when Wiseman comes back and now you got a big man that can shoot 3-pointers, that can take you off the dribble, that can post you up, along with you can put Kuminga in there and Draymond. So it's like pick your poison.
I think Kerr knows that. I think this is why Kerr, if you see, he's rotating more people in 6-9 and up into games, getting game experience.
Yeah,
I think he knows that these players are going to have to be the ones that combat the 6'11", 7-footer that they may meet. That may be the case.
Well, my thing is, I told you before, the legacy, whoever he is, he would have to go, man. He's a liability.
Love What You Collect says Lakers, Warriors, Heat, Nets.
Lakers.
I don't know about that.
Man. You fishing on that one. I will have to disagree on the Lakers.
I think Love What You Collect got some fandom for the Lakers. I don't see the Lakers. The Lakers may be a 7-8 seed in the playoffs if they are there. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, they can keep all their players from getting hurt. AD's gonna get hurt again before the season's out, right?
He may not. I don't know. He went down the other day with a quick wrist, came back into the game.
Yeah, okay. Okay. I'm telling you, that dude is
Mark
gonna get hurt.
Marcus has some love here for the Memphis Grizzlies. Right now, Grizzlies versus Golden State, next versus Bucks. Lakers are sneaky, and Hornets could be past first round. Could get past. Okay. You know, the
Grizzlies.
Hornets are one of those teams, right? If they're going to beat you, they're going to outscore you. And I just don't know how that works in a 7-game series.
Yeah, well, you got to have some dogs. You got to have the PJ Tuckers of the world. You got to have a couple of those guys. And that's
right.
When the Bucks lost PJ Tucker. I know people in my chat, roasted me, but I'm like, guys, they're sending it away, man.
I don't even see I don't think the Bucks are the same team without PJ Tucker.
No. He's such an important part of that kind of glue role. I mean, you see Draymond Green in Golden State's the same type of player. It's such an important role in the NBA today.
You hit it, Dakota.
This is why Michael Jordan loved Chris Levingston back in the day. JP, you remember Chris Levingston?
Oh yeah. What time is it?
Yeah. That he would go to the ground to get the ball. He was 6'9" or so. Could grab rebounds. He would just do anything. Play defense on the guy. Give you some extra fouls. You need that kind of stuff.
And after that, I would see him at the club, at his club, Chris Levinson Riviera Club.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that play. I remember that play.
No, Dakota, but you are right. If you like PJ Tucker, you got to think he did the same type of dirty work in Houston. That's what made Houston so great.
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead, Dakota.
I grew up loving, my favorite players growing up are Shane Battier and Luis Scola. Battier goes on to win championships with the Heat. And it's just like, I learned. I'm like, man, that guy is so important. He just kind of does it all. He masks a lot of issues a team's got, man. I'm all about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Definitely.
So, Dakota, let me ask you this question. I get this question a lot. If you're a person that's interested in the hobby and in collecting, what are some pointers? What are some things you would tell that person to help them start their collecting?
That's hard, man. You just coming in. I would say pick a sport and even pick a player and just kind of learn. Just start as small as you can and just try to learn, because it can certainly be overwhelming. And there's a ton of people on the internet want to give you their opinions about stuff, but pick a player that for whatever reason is nostalgic to you. Pick a sport, stick to it, and just try to learn it, right? Get a good foundation there. And then you want to branch out to other sports, other players, you do you, whatever you want to do. But just trying to stay real focused up front, because it's real easy to get unfocused. And then I talk about it all the time. Like, I feel like I didn't build a collection. I just amassed a lot of cards, and you don't want that feeling. You want to build a collection. So stay focused.
And I try to challenge myself, right? If there's something that I'm looking at, even if I make the purchase, if someone asks me, FD, why did you make this purchase? I'm going to walk you through my strategy. What was I thinking about? And there's some cards that I get almost down to the end. And if I don't feel sound about the decision I'm about to make, then I'm not buying that card. There's been a few cards that I've gotten right there. I remember when Reggie Bush, I'll tell this story. I remember when Reggie Bush first came out of college, right? He first came out of USC. I thought he was going to be the bomb. I thought he was just going to be amazing. And so I forced myself before I bought any cards or got his autograph. Still don't have his autograph today. I forced myself to sit down and watch him play. Game by game throughout that first season. I said, okay, he went to the San Francisco 49ers. It's going to be a little bit different. Same kind of setup. I think he ended up with the Detroit Lions. Same kind of stuff. It's like something missing in his game, right? He didn't do the cutback right. He could see a hole, and Reggie Bush was not going to cut back and take that. His hands out of the backfield, throwing the ball. Drew Brees in that offense just could not throw the ball to Reggie Bush. Reggie would just miss the ball. It would go through his hands, his concentration. I don't know what it was. I just kept watching him, and I thought, this is not who I saw at USC. Like this, we all know the NFL game is a very different game, but that's one example of something I just kept going through and said, let me watch this guy and see who he is, and let me not get caught up in the hype we talk about, the media coverage and people talking about him and all the interviews that he did. Let me actually look at him as a football player, and then you get to see linebackers and stuff teeing off on this guy because they've heard so much about him. And his career just never took flight. It was the same way with Vince Young. Just let me watch him. I come out of the Rose Bowl and I see Vince Young, and I keep watching him in Tennessee. He was getting somewhat better, but it just never panned out. Just never happened. So those are some examples of just, I need to this. But then, like, I know JP talks about Aaron Donald, but then when I started looking at Aaron Donald and he started winning awards and things that happened in his career, I said, okay, this might be a person that I invest something in just to see how it goes. But if I'm going to invest, to let me find the right card to invest in.
Thanks
It's
to
kind of
social media.
my test that I go through.
Yeah. Thank you, social media. Yeah.
About Aaron Donald?
Yeah. Thank you, social media. Sure.
I think people have learned today that you don't care for Aaron Donald and you don't really care for LeBron. But I think
you really care for MJ.
Yeah. You really like MJ. Well, DJ Lazy Jeff said, wasn't it Reggie Bush an early victim of the Kardashian curse? Could have been.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think Reggie Bush to me was, and FD, you know I told you this before, Reggie Bush was food goals to me at USC, bro. I never really cared for his game, man. I just thought that the team that he was around made him better. The players that were around made him better.
McCracken. Go ahead, sir.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, the first question I would ask a new person in the hobby is, are you a collector or investor? I don't think that's the first question I'm asking. I don't know. I have this whole thing about labels and what are we doing, and am I a collector or am I an investor? I always ask this question, right? If I go to a card show and I'm at this table over here and I'm selling 2 cards that's in my collection, what am I? But then I go over to this table over here and I buy an Aaron Rodgers rookie from the funds that I just got from selling over there. What am I in this show?
I got the answer, man. I was driving. I was picking up my girl, my daughter, picking her up. Yeah. First day we grandparents watched her. I went to go pick her up, and I'm driving. I'm like, this is the shit I think about when I'm driving around. I said, we're not collectors. Well, some people are strictly collectors. Some people are strictly investors, but the vast majority of us are hobbyists. Sometimes we're collectors. Sometimes we're investors. We have, the wind blows and we feel different and we do something different. That's right. What it is, man. We're just enjoying the hobby. That's all.
Yep. Because that's what I've told people. I like cards.
Yeah.
That's who I am. So all these ways we like to slice it and dice it, it's like, okay.
Nah, I'm the same way. Whatever I like on my personal PC is what I like. I'm not expecting nobody to agree with it. It's just my own personal PC. And what I like is what I like.
And you know what's cool out here, right? There are some people I meet up with at shows. We just straight talk strategy. I'll tell them something I'm interested in. It's like a sounding board, right? And we do it in the middle of the show. Or we'll talk about something. Or they'll tell me something that they're interested in buying or a move they're about to make, and they'll ask me my opinion. And there are times that they may agree with me. There's times they may disagree. But we all like just talking about it.
Yeah.
And then to me, that's the cool part.
Yep.
That's what I enjoy.
Yeah.
Junkyard Goat Hunter said, number 1 tip: garage sales, flea markets, antique malls. I've hit those, and I haven't found as much, I think, as others. Maybe my focus, I've heard with garage sales, you should be looking for several different things to have knowledge on. My focus may be too a little bit too centered to be able to. I may walk past something that somebody else may see, especially when it comes to like older toys or something like that. I probably don't see that, but I think there are some wins there on that level, most definitely. A lot of times I walk in like, what do you have any cards here? I'm like, no. No, not at all. Dakota, do you get into comics at all?
Neo's always trying to talk me into damn comics.
Neo talks about it.
I ain't gonna do it, man. But I did think there's a couple. My wife really likes Marvel, and I might be lying to you if I haven't watched all that stuff and all Star Wars stuff. I've been thinking it might be nice to have like one comic back here, but it ain't gonna be. If I ever buy a comic, it won't be anything crazy. It'll be one of my favorite characters, and it's just gonna be a nice cover. It's probably gonna be $30. I ain't spending no money on that stuff. It's not my thing.
So this gets us into and who are your favorite characters, Dakota, JP? Who are some of your favorite characters? And we can throw it in the chat too. Who are some of your favorite characters in Marvel or DC?
Wolverine is one of my favorites.
The Ring?
Wolverine.
Wolverine, yeah, he's a great one, yeah. I like the Punisher's probably like my favorite like Marvel person, and then from Star Wars it's Boba Fett. So yeah.
Boba Fett. Yeah, I like the Punisher a lot. I heard a rumor that the Punisher series was coming back. I don't know if anybody else heard that.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to. Yeah,
Ooh,
or he's
I can't
coming
wait.
back or something. Yeah,
Can't wait. But the Punisher, Spider-Man, and Wolverine is probably my top three characters.
Yeah.
Top three. What about Marvel cars, Dakota? I keep taking you out of football.
no, I'm trying. I thought I had one
See,
right here.
I'm in my research phase. I'm trying to understand and learn more. I have so many questions that it's hard for me to get an answer to. And one question I have, let's say JP plays in the most recent X-Men movie. And let's say JP plays Wolverine, right? Now, when we go 20 years down the line, there may be two other people who now have played Wolverine after JP played the character. If I have an autographed card by JP playing Wolverine 20 years prior, and he did a decent job playing the role, but other people have played it just as well, what makes my JP Wolverine card special?
See, I think there, like, it's not, right? I think, like, if you had a Hugh Jackman, it's like, all right, that guy is Wolverine. If you got Batman, you got Adam West. Well, he's like one of the OGs. You know, that's different. Yeah, or maybe if you want to go to a more modern era, Michael Keaton, what's the other guys? Val Kilmer, doesn't matter. Christian Bale, okay, now that was a good Batman, Christian Bale. Right, so I think you have to hit the big, like, I think people probably just know. Spider-Man's a great one. Tobey Maguire might be fun because he's the first and it sets all this off. And then there's been like two more since then. But now probably the best one is the guy who's doing it right now because he's going to be the guy in the Avengers and all that. So I'm sure there's a lot of intricacies there I don't understand. But I would imagine you want to pick the GOATs. You want to pick the best
get it,
ones.
right? Yeah.
You hit it on the head. You want the OGs, the originators that started it. I think it's more of the mystique of with the OGs, the originals, because those were the people that laid the groundwork and the foundation to kick it off. And everybody else is just, crumbs compared to that. So
yeah.
Nightcrawler. Now, this is something we talked about earlier. How are Mahomes investors feeling right now in TB12 collection? I would just say this. I looked at this all day today. Everything has an ebb and flow to it, right? Brady didn't win every Super Bowl that he went to. So if Mahomes, he's still early in his career. Let's say he gets back to the Super Bowl and he wins one or two. That's a lot of growth on his cards. I personally wouldn't overreact and say, on the flip side, you could say a Burrow card. Let's say he goes to the Super Bowl and loses, and like Dakota said earlier, never gets back. What happens to his cards? So if you're out there right now investing in Burrow, what happens to his cards? It's just one of those things you have to let that career take care of itself. Dan Marino went early against Joe Montana, swore he was coming back. Never happened.
That's a good example for Burrow. Yeah.
Yeah. We got Batman, Superman, Daredevil. Daredevil's a cool character. Tom Brady is the best Marvel hero. Marvel autos are more about the actor than the character they played. Interesting. This is what I'm learning, McCracken. This is what I'm trying to learn. Marvel cards are more character and aesthetic driven. Still so young when it comes to market awareness of Marvel. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I'm learning more and more that a lot of people who collect Marvel cards do not have anything to do with a comic book.
Really?
Nothing at all. They're almost mutually exclusive with a small sliver of an overlap there. Which I find interesting. It's just interesting to me. I know they're very different. One is story-based driven, one is artwork driven, or the presentation, like we talked about, aesthetics driven. But I just found it interesting. I came in and just thinking, like, if I'm interested in Spectacular Spider-Man, then I'm probably interested in Spider-Man cars, but it doesn't have to be that way. Mahomes will level off for a while, Chris. Well, we got to think Mahomes cars were very high at one point. Very high. So that was probably something coming to level that out for all collectors involved. I don't think Mahomes will be back in the Super Bowl TB12 collection. We'll see. JP, what do you think? I know you don't think he's going to be back, do you?
No, nope. Everybody figured this dude out. You got to think, man. When you get hammered in the Super Bowl like you did against Tampa Bay, and that was Brady's first year over there, and the way y'all hammered y'all did not score. Then you come in this game against a new young Burrow and this new team, and they shut y'all out in the second half. Man, that speaks volumes to me. That's saying that the NFL has figured you out. So now you run around scrambling like a chicken with your head cut off, playing backyard football. That's not gonna work.
Oh boy. Now Chris Morrow makes a statement here. Opinions on the popularity of Justin Bieber, Jay-Z, etc. cars. I think this goes like hand in hand with the Ja Morant Young Dolph card, right? Pop culture, social media, all these things are playing a role in the awareness of these cars. I can remember when Jay-Z cars were like very cheap to get, even the refractors, very cheap. And now that people are aware of Jay-Z, there's a lot of stuff that he's done that has nothing to do with music that brings awareness to him. I think this is why these cars are popular. I mean, Justin Bieber cars are very popular. At least when I see them at shows, very popular. And I think you'll see more of that as we go forward. Cars that don't have anything to do with sports, Pokemon, or Marvel, but it's about a particular person in music, movies, on a car. Even the backdrop could be they took a picture at an award show, but people want that car.
Mm-hmm.
Local car collector. I don't feel like there was a lot baked into Mahomes prices, just like Luka. All I can say is this, right? I've tried to stay pretty close to the hobby. These cars are well sought after for quite a while. So, that speaks volumes. There's not a lot of cars that can say that. But if you had a medium to very nice Luka card or Mahomes card, there's a dollar amount associated with that. Christopher King, don't sleep on Fortnite cards. I've been grabbing a few, and I'm not a gamer. I've seen a little bit of Fortnite. I've seen MetaZoo.
Really? They have cards?
Yeah.
I'm about to Google some of this stuff, man. This is all new to me with this Fortnite.
But people talk about Mahomes. Like, what about Baker Mayfield?
Ooh.
There were some very expensive Baker Mayfield cards.
Y'all think I went hard on Big Ben? Let me tell you about Baker. Man,
break it down.
No, man. Baker is he's trash, man. He's like Big Ben if Big Ben didn't have talent. You know what I mean? Like,
you know what? I thought he was trash in college.
Yeah, I mean, he's bad, man. Like, he's not good. And he got away with being unathletic in college. And now you've got these 275 pound men can run a 4.4, or I guess a 4.7 40. But what's Baker running, a 4.9 or something like that? I know it's ridiculous to talk about 40-yard dashes, but he can't get away from anyone. You have the fattest defensive lineman in the league. You have Gilbert Brown up there run faster than Baker Mayfield. I mean, come on. What are we doing here?
And he's inaccurate. He's inaccurate with his throwing. Odell Beckham's looking like a genius right now. He was saying the other day, I told y'all it wasn't me.
Yeah, go ahead, JP. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Dakota.
Well, I love the Odell storyline. I love that he's getting a chance of redemption here. And also, I kind of like that it makes Baker look bad. So, all right.
Let me ask this question, though. What about Odell's father making that highlight tape and shopping that thing around?
I mean, to me, ask me this question: what has Odell Beckham done since
Well,
he's been over?
he had 100 something yards yesterday in the game.
No,
That's the
okay,
best game he's had in years.
but what does that say about him as a player?
I
To me,
say,
that
but I'm
says
asking the question: what does it say about Baker Mayfield?
it don't say nothing to me. To me, they on the same playing field. To me, it's on the same playing field. One
I
don't
mean,
cancel out the other.
you, Baker has one of the most talented offensive lines in the game. You've
Yes, he
got two tight ends with Njoku and Hooper. Then you've got Landry and OBJ on the outside. Then you have the best running back tandem in the league. Oh, and on top of that, you have a star-studded defense as well. And still, you're garbage. I mean,
Well,
come
he
on,
has
man.
running backs. Yeah, he's got running backs.
What are we doing here? This is a joke.
But it'd be interesting to see when do the Browns say, you know what? I think I've seen enough. I think it's time to bring
They
some more
won't.
talent in here.
They won't. They'll be just like the 49ers. They will not do it. They will stay with this dude. I mean, to me, Baker Mayfield and Johnny Manziel are the same people.
So we got a question here from Jonathan. Thoughts on Cade Cunningham and this year's rookies? I've watched Cade Cunningham play at least 5 times. I just need to see more from him. I haven't seen anything that I thought was like super impressive. But Cade Cunningham is so young. I mean, he has a lot of basketball to play. He is very young. I don't. Even the what was the number 2 pick went to Houston.
Jalen
Yeah,
Green. Yeah.
they have a lot of basketball. Jalen Reed's he's very athletic, but they have a lot of basketball to play. I'm just about letting them play it, and then we'll see what's going on. I always say this: Giannis was in the league 8 years before we really found out who he was. We got to give these people some time. Some of them only play 1 year in college. I mean, yeah, in college, and then they come out. And they're so young that you just got to let them get in the system, understand themselves, what's happening off the court, give them some time to develop on the court, and then we'll find out who they are.
Okay, so what do you say about the players that came in like KG that made an impact when they came
It's
into the
rare.
league?
That's just rare, man. It's very rare. Very rare. You could see KG almost from the get-go. You knew on the court who he was, what ability he had. What the question was at the time, is he a small forward or power forward? But he could score the basketball. I mean, he played point in some games, even as a rookie. But these guys today, you just don't know. People are still growing. You just don't know.
I think it comes down to skill set, man. Like a lot of these players nowadays do not work on their skill sets.
But let me just ask you this, right? If I come out and I'm McDonald's All-American, and then I go to Duke, did I have to work on my skill set to get to Duke? Then I'm at Duke 1 year, and my Coach K is about to retire. So then I go to the NBA, and to me, he's retiring because one and dones, he can't really build a team. So I go to the NBA, and I'm a LaMelo Ball. Do I have to work on my skill set? Maybe
I
something
wonder,
clicks in my head that I say later. Well, you know what? I want to be a consistent all-star player. I want to start taking steps in my career. Maybe you have that work ethic where you do that, or maybe you don't.
I just
And
think a
you
lot of
score. Let's say you're averaging 20-something points a night, and your contract has incentive on offensive points, things like that. You may not ever take that step to say, I'm gonna start playing defense and reduce my scoring, and I want to. You may not ever do that.
yeah, that's the problem though. But you call yourself a professional. Professional, you got to sharpen your skills. I don't care what you're doing. It ain't even got to be in sports. It's got to be in everyday life. Every day you get up, you should want to be better at doing something.
I can't argue that. You should, but it may not be there for you to say, I'm really going to do that. DJ Lazy Jeff, would a hobby widely accept digital cards? Or do you think we'll always want to have the cardboard in hand? Interesting question. I thought
Yeah,
about
that's
this.
an interesting question there. Digital cards.
I think people still going to want something in their hands. That's what I think.
I don't think that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't think that people ever really just going to fully accept digital cards. I think if you can have a digital card tied to a physical card, really, I think that's like, to me, I would be interested in NFTs if I could buy I buy a physical card. Here's a Vic card, and with it comes like some NFT where it's like him making some great play, and I'm like, that'd be kind of
We talked
interesting.
about that.
I'd
That
be
would be
interested
great.
then.
That would be great.
Yeah. Yeah.
And especially if that play was like in the Super Bowl or what we saw yesterday that led to something, or the catch from Dwight Clark back in the day. And that was connected, like something that's historic and significant. That would be the bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah, like those Kaboom cards or something like yeah.
TB12. I can't believe people spend big money on Luka. You got no love for Luka. Do we know that Luka is the next face of the NBA?
I would say yes.
Yeah,
He's got size.
Let LeBron say tomorrow, you know what? See y'all later. Luka is going to be on everything you see NBA related.
You think so?
Oh yeah. Who else?
I don't know, man.
I don't see anybody else taking that spot.
Yeah, I think it's Luka. He's got
He's
the
in front of the
international
camera.
market.
Yeah. Yeah. In front of the camera, he does well. Comes across well. Interviews well. That's what I think.
I don't know, man. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see. Because I'm Carlos. Thanks for being here. Somewhere in the distance, Neo is cursing Dakota's name. Not saying he's wrong on Baker, but still. I've learned Neo, I love him. He has mad love for Ohio sports.
Sin is the name, man. Northeast Ohio.
I love him. Well, no, what does Neo stand for, Dakota? Tell me that again.
Northeast Ohio.
Okay. Yeah. All right. It is in his name. And I have respect for it. I have respect for that. That's funny, Carlos.
That cracks me up. Yeah, cracks me up.
Dakota, anything else you want to get into tonight? It's pretty late where you're at. I want to respect your time.
Yeah, maybe give me another 15 here, but there was some good stuff in chat actually I was kind of waiting for, but let me see here. Hold on. Sydney Dolphins with another good NBA take here says Ja is the next face. Ja's not the face, guys. Ja's the next Derrick Rose until he figures out that three.
Yeah. Ja was in the game the other day, putting the middle finger up after the game.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, they were taking it was like three of them taking Bane, him, and someone else taking that's not gonna work.
Nope. Oh, no, you can't do that.
He would have to say, you know what, I'm going down this road. I'm gonna go over here, I'm gonna go do this, and then I'll be the face of the NBA.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, you can't. You definitely cannot do that in today's time.
He says Luka needs to win a championship to be the next face of the NBA. How many star players that's going to go to this year's All-Star game that does not have a championship? Quite a few. That's because I think there's also going to be a change on the guard in the NBA.
I'm trying to think. Do you think LeBron was the face of the NBA in like 2008? Or was it Kobe?
It was Kobe.
Kobe. Yeah.
So when does LeBron ever become the face of the NBA before he wins a championship? I mean, that whole South Beach thing was a big deal. I feel like he might have been the face then, when he makes that announcement.
Yeah, I think he was, because the viewership they had on that was something crazy. I think
just asking, for this, comment, he needs to be, because someone else had said Giannis, and like to me, Giannis, it's just an awkward time because LeBron's still the face of the NBA, and when he's ready to hand it over, I think Giannis is going to be too far in his career to be the next face, though he is a great face for the NBA, but I don't know.
George said need to win MVPs and titles as well, not just play well to be the face of the NBA. Dallas ain't winning anything anytime soon. All right. So Anthony, and those who say that Luka is not the face, who will be when LeBron walks off the court?
That's the same thing I said. I didn't think that Luca would be the face. I would, just in my humble opinion, I thought that Giannis would be, just because he won a championship in a small market like Milwaukee. He took a small franchise and actually stayed with that team. He didn't leave and go play with other All Stars. Stayed with that team and actually won a championship.
It's interesting. It is interesting. I'm thinking about the teams right now we just named. Who does not have a championship that's about to win one that will be the face of the NBA after LeBron?
Devin Booker, maybe.
I don't know. He definitely has to win one. Phoenix will be they'll be in a position to be around
Exactly,
that.
yeah.
To see what they're going to do. I will say.
Yeah, with Phoenix, I would say you have to put Kwame Brown.
You got Kwame Brown as the championship. Wow.
Lord have mercy. But Phoenix, with Book, he has to have complementary pieces around him, I think, to win a chip. If he's gonna win one, this year would probably be the best chance for him to win one.
Yeah.
Well, he's already got, like a one note on his resume, fastest player to 10,000 points. Book.
Yeah. I mean,
well, he was in college. I know at Kentucky. I never thought he'd have been this player. So he's definitely working on his game, adding things to it.
Yeah.
Flea market, Eli, Big Ben.
Man, you about 2 hours behind on the tape, man. You need to catch up, flea market. What are we doing here?
Oh man, boy.
Oh man. That's crazy. I doubted Ja before this year, but no more. Ja is a player. Now we're talking about hype, right? That's a little bit of hype here. I mean, he's going to the All-Star game. He's averaging good points a game. There are still times where Ja will take point periods of the game just completely off. If you're watching Memphis, he's not playing defense. He's kind of running the court. He's not aggressive offensively. And then you'll see him get back aggressive or start doing something. So we'll see. I mean, that's why we have games and time for people to mature and then further develop their game to really see what's going on. But I do not see Ja, I'm just going to say this, being the face of the NBA anytime soon. I don't see that. Unless he gets out of Memphis.
Yeah.
I don't think the NBA is going to go to where the face of the NBA is in Milwaukee and Memphis.
Mm.
I don't see that.
But when is the small we stop talking about the small markets and just say, hey, this guy, whether he's in a big market or small market, this guy actually did it the way it should be done.
Yeah, but think about it. If you got New York, Chicago, Boston, San Francisco, like Golden State, Chicago, you got these cities. The NBA is going to make sure those cities have talent.
Oh, of course. I mean, look at the population of it. Yeah, I mean, of course.
But let me just ask you this though: what face of the NBA can you remember that was in a small market? Never seen that.
I mean, LeBron in Cleveland, but
he really wasn't the face yet, though.
Yeah, I mean, he really kind of gets it there when he goes to Miami, and then he goes back to Cleveland.
Yeah, Miami is a bigger market for the NBA.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean,
Now, I think me personally, I always say this: some teams in the NBA, people that want to hear this, are the farm club for these major cities. So you may get drafted to a Cleveland, right? But you're going to end up winning your championship someplace else and being notarized someplace else, and then you can go do whatever else you want to do. Like Ja, how much longer is he really going to be in Memphis?
Well, what's this, his third year? So 5 more years. They play there for 8 years and then they move on because that's the way the contracts work, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's when you hone your skills, right? That's when we all know who you are. But then you go win somewhere else.
Some people are just loyal though.
Very few. I mean, like we talked about before, you could be Kevin Garnett, you could be loyal.
Yeah.
And your point guard is Sam Cassell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you can go to Boston and win.
Yeah. But you got to think back then, those are different times though. A lot of people wouldn't change the teams back then like they are now.
But do you think there'll be a change of teams? Do you think let's say you, myself, and Dakota get together and go to Charlotte and win a championship?
Okay.
I think we could.
It could be done.
I don't think that's going to
happen. It could be done. Okay.
But you think that'll happen though? You think we'll all get together, group up, and go to Smart Market?
Let's look at it. Now let's look at that Pelicans team when they had Boogie Cousins. Who else was on there?
Anthony Davis.
AD.
Yeah. And a couple of people.
And a point guard for Milwaukee was there.
Drew Holiday.
Drew Holiday.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, if they added some more pieces, they could have won a chip.
They could have, but then look what happened to those players, right? Holiday went somewhere and won a championship.
I know.
AD went to the Lakers. And
that's what I'm saying.
Cousins has been trying to get somewhere.
But we can't look at it and say it can't be done because it can.
It can be, JP, but what I'm saying is who's going to a small market to get together to win? That's unprecedented if it did happen. We haven't seen that.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, man.
And we've had finals like when San Antonio was playing, nobody was watching the finals. That's some of the lowest rated finals games that we've ever seen. Would you? I guess I would ask this: is San Antonio a big market?
No, the San Antonio team needs to move to Las Vegas, man.
Yeah, it's not a big market, man.
Ain't nobody trying to. Charles talks about the women in San Antonio. He's not wrong. Ain't nobody trying to move out there, So.
Hey, but you gotta look at the run that Pop had in San Antonio too, though.
I mean, Anthony says, "Who really knows? Let Zion come back healthy next year and keep the numbers he was putting up last year when healthy. He would be the face of the NBA, hands down."
When Zion was really playing, man, I was like, man, he's special. I mean, oh my goodness, this guy. I mean, I really like his game. That's a guy. If he can get it all figured out, just to your point, these young guys, they're still learning how to be men. They're 19 and 20.
Yeah,
he needs to figure it out. But man, I love his game. I enjoy his game.
If the Warriors, Sylvester, if the Warriors win it, will be Curry again as the face of the NBA. Joel has the personality to be the face of the NBA and talent. I'm happy with what Joel Embiid is doing because of where he's been, the injuries he's had. It's just good to see him showcasing his skills. And what's interesting to me is when the 76ers played the Lakers recently, right? And you saw Joel Embiid playing offense or defense versus AD. That was two totally different skill sets.
Yeah,
on the court. At the same time, he dominated AD.
Yeah, he did. I think he sent a message to him and let him know that I have arrived. And
he's probably the MVP this year.
Could be.
He's playing.
He playing right now.
He put Ben Simmons in his rearview mirror and hasn't thought about it since. He's not looking for anybody to help him out.
Yeah.
Very nice to see. It's good to see players like that. Reggie Miller, give me some context here. Inside corner.
I think we were talking about face of the NBA with small teams, and they said Reggie Miller. Reggie was never the face. I mean, he was fun. He was never the face.
Never the face of the NBA. Gilbert Arenas? No.
God,
especially not. Sydney? Do you know Gilbert Arenas' background? No.
Gilbert Arenas. What are we? He's the face
Gilbert
of the
Arenas, if people don't know, was in a locker room
with 2 handguns.
Got into an argument with a fellow teammate, and then produced firearms to settle.
Oh man,
Gilbert Arenas.
That's a Sydney Dolphins. That's a good laugh, though.
I did used to love though when him and LeBron would go at it. I used to love that stuff. But no, not Gilbert Arenas, man. That's funny. To me, as Tatum started winning, he would be the face that runs the place. Well, first we got to get to winning, right? We got to be consistent. I love Tatum. I mean,
he's a great player.
I really like him. But I will say, he will come out and score 50, and then the next day may have 12 and just be like looking at Brown do his thing. Like that really can't happen. Malone and Stockton in Utah. Don't know about that, DJ. Don't know. Malone and Stockton was interesting. So many players you can name. If they didn't play in the Jordan era, what would have happened?
They probably would have won a chip.
You get to the finals 2 years in a row, and Michael Jordan's like, nah, it's not happening.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You probably would have won a chip. It's no different than the Buffalo Bills going to the Super Bowl. They went to like 4 and lost all 4.
4 in a row, bro.
Yeah, dude, who does that?
4 in a row.
Who does that?
Why we got to pull this comment up? Why don't we just bury this comment? Why we got to talk?
I want you to see this, bro. DJ, Hakeem in Houston. I mean, who realistically goes to Houston to try and win a championship?
James Harden did. He tried.
But Hakeem also is a player that when he came in with Ralph Sampson, he was really raw, learning the game, and then became a masterpiece in the center position.
Yeah, but he also played with Clyde Drexler too, though.
Yeah, he did. But he won that first championship without Clyde Drexler.
Yeah.
To me, Hakeem's first championship and then the Mavericks championship with Nowitzki, and I guess maybe the 04 Pistons. Those to me are like some of the most like amazing championships. When you look at those teams, like you've got one star, or with the Pistons, I mean, you could argue no stars. And I mean, that's pretty amazing. All 3 of those teams.
Yeah, let's not talk about them.
Yeah, that Detroit team, I thought they had no chance of beating the Lakers. And after I saw game 1 and then game 2, I was like, the Lakers got problems. The defense that Detroit was playing.
Oh man.
And then that's when you had the glove and mailman kind of not being the glove and the mailman. And then you had Kobe with all the other stuff going on. They said Kobe really wasn't even coming to practice.
It was a loose glove and a mailman that already collected his pension, man.
It was a mailman with old mail still in his house.
Yeah.
Man, y'all cold, man. Y'all are some characters, man.
Dexo, I appreciate you, sir. I am probably Jokic's biggest fan in chat. What are the voters smoking, thinking? Giannis or Embiid not deserving the NBA? Seriously, who better than Jokic? Let me just say this, right? Every time Magic Johnson won the MVP and Michael Jordan was playing, Magic Johnson didn't win the MVP.
I knew you was going to go there.
Come on. But you cannot keep giving it to Michael Jordan. Just like when Steve Nash won. Shaq probably should have got some of those. So, there's a political side of this. It's like we were just talking about the Hall of Fame in baseball. There's a political side of it. But,
I think too. So I agree. I'm gonna answer this. I'm gonna talk to you a little bit, and then I'm gonna bounce. But like Jokic in the playoffs, man, last year just did not. I mean, I don't know, man.
He faded.
Yeah, exactly. So I think if he's strong there in the playoffs, and then they lose because like they're just getting outdueled by the whole other team, I think he's in that contention. But when you fall off like that in the playoffs, and you come back the next year strong, you got to show it to me before I'm willing to give you MVP again.
True. Very true.
Oh man!
All right, gents, I'm gonna bounce. Thank you, FD. I appreciate you
I
for having
really
me on,
appreciate
man.
you, sir. Thank you
All
for being
right,
here.
Dakota.
Blast, man.
Have a
JP
good
was
one,
fun,
brother.
sir.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. Thank
Cheers,
you, brother.
gents.
Yep.
Bye.
All right, have a good one.
So we got Eric here saying Tim Duncan so underrated. He's really better than Kobe. Card prices should be the same. Kobe needed Shaq and Powell to win. Again, Tim Duncan did not want to talk to the media. I think the Spurs worked with him to do that. And it was not because he didn't like the media. He's even talked about this. And when he went to the Hall of Fame, he talked about this. He just had to work at that. It was difficult for him. I think it brought him anxiety to talk to the media.
Yeah.
So that is going to spiral into how do you promote a guy like that, or get his name out there, or get him recognition on a social media level? I think he wants nothing to do with that. He just wants to go play ball.
Yeah. But I just still don't think, we should punish a person because they have anxiety about speaking to the media, speaking in front of people and things of that nature. Some people, that's just how they're wired. Like you said, they just want to go out, play ball, let their game do the speaking. And we all know that Tim Duncan, with that bank off the glass, his game was speaking.
Yeah, hopefully he gets that notoriety that he should get. Flea Market said Brady will get in the Hall of Fame next season if he retires, and his stuff will be out of here. I think he has to wait 5. So I think he has to wait 5 years to get in. I'd be interested in see if this is unprecedented as far as, like, if you look at it, someone who's going in the Hall of Fame, there's no guess, right? We pretty much know when you get to this tier of athlete that they're going in the Hall of Fame. We all know that Brady's going in the Hall of Fame right now. So you won't really see a price jump because of that, but you may see a price increase because it's Tom Brady. So I'm gonna be very interested in tracking what how his cars perform over time until he goes in, just to see what that trend line is, because it's really unprecedented what he's done, and it'll be interesting to see how the market reads that.
And I think it's a travesty that he has to wait 5 years to go into the Hall. That makes no type of sense.
Sydney says everyone has a gun in Washington. That's interesting. Interesting. Yeah, Reggie was a Nick killer, long range killer, Nick killer. Yeah. He was. Yes, him and Spike Lee had a lot of conversations.
Oh yeah.
Chuck tried. Drexler did it. Yeah. Just think about if Clyde Drexler, though, had never come to that team. It'd been interesting to see how his career would have ended.
Never came to that Houston team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pistons had stars, just no superstars, but 5 stars. They're greater than 2 superstars. Very true. They played defense. They played as a unit. Chauncey Billups was magnificent in that series. Rip Hamilton. I mean, it's just they played well.
Yep. Rasheed Wallace, Big Ben.
Mm-hmm. You know, Rasheed is now in Memphis coaching with Anthony Hardaway.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yep, it is.
Ryan said he sees OG card scamming all the time. He is in here all the time. Just picked up Kobe rookie card from our friend Dan, aka the Great Creator. Was that your Whatnot move? And it was fun. Last night on Whatnot. Glad to be back here. We are rolling. Thanks for coming back. Yes, I appreciate that. So JP, we're getting to our time. We're at 2 hours and 23 minutes in.
Yep.
Moving and grow. I appreciate everyone for being here. I appreciate Dakota for coming to spend time. Sports Cars Anonymous. It was great.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun tonight on the live. I must say.
And if you missed the beginning, We talked a little bit about Starstock. So go back. Please listen to that. Dakota has some great insight. He interviewed the CEO today. It was great to see. It was great to talk to him about it too. But the interview I thought was good. It was on a kind of a timetable there, a short timetable, but it was a great interview to watch. Probably give you a few answers to some things you have that you wanted answers to, and a little bit of a discussion about it. But we get into it at the beginning of this. Hey, I appreciate everyone for being here. Thank you very much. Don't forget, want everybody not forget, immediately following the Super Bowl on February 13th, we're going to jump on here for a live to talk about the game and everything else that's going on in the world of sports and in our community as far as card collecting. So please jump on immediately after the game. So whenever the game ends, we will be on, and we're going to have a panel of guests that will flow through that live to talk to you about many different things. So I'm excited about it. JP, you got anything to say before we get out of here?
Yeah, I just want to say I appreciate everybody tuning in. Hope everybody has a great week, and just keep collecting.
Keep collecting. Thank you very much. We'll be back next Monday, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. See you all soon.
All right. God bless. Out.